This is Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week.
It's a hot night in Waco, burning with anticipation. Baylor flaunts Robert Griffin III, one of the most dynamic playmakers. Tonight he faces the defensive mastery of TCU's Gary Patterson. The undefeated Rose Bowl champs aren't looking back at recent glory. It's a new season for the Frogs, filled with high expectations, starting right now. Welcome to ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Russell Athletic, part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week. Tonight, from Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco, Texas, the Rose Bowl champs, the TCU Horned Frogs. They meet a Baylor team coming off their first bowl season in 16 years. Good evening, everybody. Joe Tessitore alongside Rod Gilmore, and we will visit with Samantha Steele in a moment as we welcome everyone back to the Friday night primetime game. We've got an upgraded schedule. You're going to see the Big 12, the Pac-12, teams like TCU and Boise, and we start with these Rose Bowl champs. And all week long, Rod, we've talked about this. Are they a winning team, or now are they a winning program?
Well, I know we think they're a program. We've seen them practice, and they're very talented. But that's not a game. That's practice. And they lost an awful lot from last season. 5 NFL draft picks, 8 guys who were also good enough to be invited to NFL camps. And the biggest loss, Andy Dalton. And we're talking about probably the greatest quarterback in TCU history. Great Rose Bowl game for him, and he was lights out. So guess who has to step in for him? Casey Paul Hall. Now, Casey hasn't played an awful lot. He's only a redshirt sophomore. But guess what? He is a talented guy, strong arm, probably a better runner than Andy Dalton. But he can't run the entire offense. They told us that. They're only going to run about 65 or 70% of what Andy Dalton could do.
So he's a better athlete than Andy Dalton. But the best athlete playing quarterback in college football plays for Baylor.
Yeah, you know, Michael Vick won't like it, but this guy, greatest athlete playing quarterback in football in the country. This guy is a phenomenal track athlete. Yeah, 400 meters, 400 high hurdles, but in addition to that, he is all quarterback when it comes to football season. I love the way he stays in the pocket and delivers the football, but when he gets to the edge, he is a problem because of his speed, and he runs his spread option attack and does it very, very well.
Kickoff is moments away. Sick 'em Bears is the battle cry. They better be ready. TCU wants to stay on top. It's your Friday night.
I wanna set you free. I wanna get you high. I wanna be your Friday night.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by LensCrafters, AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network, and Wendy's. You know when it's real.
That was the Traditions Rally last night here at Baylor at the Fountain Mall. The 62nd year that Floyd Casey Stadium is home to the Bears. Of course, the head coach for the Bears, Art Briles, he is Texas through and through, played Southwest Conference football, was a high school coaching kingpin in Texas, then success at Houston. Now his 4th year here at Baylor. He's added some coaching firepower to his staff. For more on that, we welcome Samantha Steele to the ESPN family.
Thanks, Joe. Everybody knows about this TCU offense, but what about the Baylor defense? Last season, they gave up 435 yards per game and 45 points to this very same TCU team. Do not expect to see that again tonight. They have changed everything on defense, and that starts with their defensive coordinator, Phil Bennett. While at Pitt, his defense allowed the least amount of explosive plays in the nation. They're going to need to show up in that area tonight. They'll probably use 5 DBs most of the game to try and keep everything in front of them. I talked to Coach Bennett yesterday. He said he's confident in his 11 starters, but depth will be an issue. And guys, with this heat, it's going to be an issue early.
No doubt about it, Sam.
It is hot, Sam. You better stay warm down there.
Gary Patterson's led TCU 27 wins in their last 28 games. ESPN, the magazine, had a survey of current coaches. Gary came out on top as the best coach in college football out there. Ross Evans to kick. Baylor to receive. Jones and Martin back deep. And this is Darius Jones. And Jones is taken down hard at about the 27-yard line by Travaris Battle. So our first scene of RG3, Robert Griffin III, the junior quarterback. Of course, had the season-ending knee surgery in 2009. Came back a year ago, one of 5 quarterbacks at the FBS level with over 5,500 yards passing and 1,500 rushing. And he completes his first pass of the season to Kendall Wright, the senior receiver. A closer look at that Bears offense, Rod.
Spread offense, very quick guys all around, and in the backfield, Terrence Ganaway, big back, he'll carry it a lot. And you saw the throw to Kendall Wright. He is really a fantastic player. He will be an NFL draft pick according to our Scouts Inc. and
31st start of his career. Griffin struggled against TCU last year, which is 16 of 28 for 164 yards. Sprints to the near side and complete again as Wright stepped out just short of that line to make.
Riles said that this offensive line is the best he's had at Baylor. Keep in mind, he had a first-round draft pick last season. And how about some of the size? Big Blake in there, and Robert Griffin. Griffin, the big guy, goes at about 330 pounds.
Well, that line judge is marking it a first down. So Griffin trying to get in a rhythm early here. Inside carry to Ganaway. And Terrence Ganaway out across the 45 before he was taken down by Stanley Mapanga.
And Tess, this TCU defense, you've seen it over the years, very good. They play that nickel package, 4-2-5. Very tough, one of the best in the country. Mapanga had a great freshman season. They lost a lot of guys up front, but he's outstanding.
Griffin quick to get up to that line of scrimmage. Once again, Ganaway, and a good gainer down to the 43-yard line before Karen Kuba was able to corral him. A gain of 12 for the senior running back.
Remember, inexperienced defensive line against a veteran offensive line.
Now Griffin sends Ganaway in motion. And this is a design run. It's where he's very dangerous, but they were able to contain him at the 40-yard line. Closer look at that TCU defense.
Tess, we'll finish up that defense, and two linebackers, probably the best tandem in the country. Kane Carter, obviously great Rose Bowl. Rebuilt secondary. Greg McCoy, probably the best guy out there.
Trick play, and it is complete. Terrence Williams, touchdown Bears. To Terrence Williams, receiver to receiver. How do you do? And Jones tags on the extra point. The sophomore Aaron Jones. What a start for Baylor. A new season and a new beginning. Terrence Williams on the receiving end.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
A year ago, TCU beat Baylor 45-10. Baylor jumps out in front this year. Rod, show us how it happened.
Well, first thing, a little slow getting the defensive call, so they weren't lined up right. You see, they're still getting the call right now. Now watch what happens here. They're thinking about covering the screenplay, and then it happens in a hurry. They've been talking about it all week. Stop the screen, and look what happens there. They blow the coverage. Both guys come up. They leave the receiver wide open, completely open. Williams by himself. No one over there. and a combination of problems. Late getting the call in, overplaying the screen, and a blown coverage because both corners, corner and safety, went after the screen recipient.
His second career touchdown pass. McCoy now on the return for TCU, and he finds a seam. McCoy! And just like that, the Frogs are in business. Finally chased down by Darius Jones.
Well, we've talked about TCU being a program, and one of the overlooked things is their specialty. They always play well. Good blocking at the point of attack. McCoy finds the seam. A little bit over anxious by Baylor coming down, ran out of their lanes a little bit. McCoy took advantage of it. But special teams a big part of what TCU brings to the party.
73-yard return. Casey Paul Hall, the sophomore quarterback, first start of his career. Tucker, Matthew Tucker inside the 10. Paul Hall takes over for Andy Dalton, who was the second-round pick of the Bengals. We talked about it. Bigger arm than Dalton, faster, stronger, better size. The question, of course, leadership, decision-making, experience.
Yeah, well, remember, Dalton was a 4-year starter. He wasn't experienced right off the bat.
Here's Paul Hall, blocker in front, and Paul Hall touchdown. They were late in calling it, but he came across. Good block up front by Luke Shivers.
Yeah, well, this is the power game. They will run it typically speed option outside, get that foot, the quick guys outside, but when they want to pound you, they use Shivers, and they come right at you this time with Paul Hall, who's not a small quarterback.
Logan Brock and Luke Shivers after McCoy set it up with a big kickoff return. Good blocking up front by the fullback and tight end. And Casey Paul Hall, opening drive of his starting assignment, brings it right in.
Who caught your breath?
Oh, boy. A lot of people were talking about this game as being one of those gems of the opening week. So far, living up to the hype.
So talk about a hot start to this ball game. They're checking to see if Paul Hall's knee was down before he crossed the plane. That ball was across the plane as his knee came down. That's got to be marked a touchdown. That's not enough to overturn that call. Remember, indisputable evidence.
After further review, previous play is confirmed.
Randy Crystal, our referee, Jack McDonald, our replay official, and a good start for the career of Casey Paul Hall. Set up by the special teams, 73-yard kickoff return. And Gary Patterson, yeah, going to be a lot of sweating tonight, but that makes him feel a little better. And that is no good. Ross Evans, first PAT attempt of the year. Doesn't get it through. 7-6, Bears on top.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Russell Athletic, who remind you that together we are. And in part by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's.
Rod Baylor has live bears down here in Waco. That's Joy, 330 pounds of Joy. The older biological sister of Lady, who's also on campus, who only checks in at 285.
A 300-pound bear named Joy. I don't find that joyous.
Well, there's a guy that TCU fans are filled with joy over. The 216-pound Casey Paul Hall, who just had the 9-yard touchdown run to make the score 7-6. Evans' PAT was blocked by Nicholas Jean-Baptiste. 14th time now in the career of Evans that he's been unsuccessful on a PAT. And here is Darius Jones. A little slow to get going as a flag comes in at the 8-yard line.
in the back during the return. Number 5, half the distance to the goal, first down.
It's Antoine Goodley for Baylor. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, Oregon LSU. It's the Cowboys Classic, part of Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week, Saturday at 8 on ABC.
Did you happen to see what Darren Thomas said in that ball game about
bigger than the national championship game?
You kidding
that
me?
Was his quote.
Well, and more. He said if they lose to LSU, Oregon's season is done. I can't believe that.
No, it is a huge game. It's the beauty of college football. One of the biggest games in years, opening week. Now the inside feed here as Ganaway able to gain a few.
Now that opening drive, Baylor was perfectly balanced. 3 runs, 3 passes, trick play, got him a touchdown, kept TCU's defense off balance.
3 receivers stacked as Griffin takes it on his own to the 10-yard line. Line to make is the 14. As RG3. Such an impressive guy. Coaches say that he's more mature. He just has more presence about him as a quarterback now. Not just an athlete, but as a quarterback.
Oh, he sounded like a quarterback when we talked to him yesterday. Big, strong voice, looked you in the eye, firm handshake, totally in command of what he was doing with his teammates yesterday. Very clear. He's the quarterback. He's the leader.
3rd and 4 here. 3 receivers to the far side for Griff. He's pressured, stays on his feet, airs it up, and that's going to sail out of bounds. Pressure came from Braylon Broughton, as well as Tank Carter, who was the defensive MVP of last year's Rose Bowl. And that's the TCU defense we're used to seeing.
Well, Patterson is not afraid to dial up the pressure. Broughton got in there first. Here comes Carter at the end of it, but Griffin is so athletic, he can buy time. He slipped Broughton and was able to buy a little time.
So as Carter and company head off to the TCU bench, Spencer Roth is on the punt for Baylor and Sky Dawson at midfield for TCU. And this is going to bounce out at about the 47-yard line. That TCU offense, when it comes to the guys behind Casey Paul Hall, well, veteran running back in Ed Wesley.
Yeah, and then I think about Hicks, a guy who was really great a couple years ago, injured most of last year. He's a veteran receiver that can help them. That offensive line, bunch of new starters up front, but they looked good on that opening short drive they had for that touchdown.
Yeah, they powered their way in there with Paul Hall running the ball in from 9 yards out.
First down to the 47.
Paul Hall to pass, and he gets it to Boyce, and Josh Boyce is still on his feet struggling. They'll give him the forward progress, but Chance Casey was wrestling with him. How about that Baylor front 4?
Well, they switched things up a bit. You know, they're playing a nickel package now, 5 defensive back, 4 down linemen, and I think about guy Gary Thomas. Gary Mason up front is a guy that they call the shadow because he's such a big, tall guy. They want him to play as big as his shadow. Linebackers, Elliott Coffey making his first start inside. They moved him from the outside linebacking spot, so he's got a lot of calls to make back there.
There is Coffey, the senior, the top returning tackler. Play action now. Paul Hall with time and with Boyce. Did he hold on to it? No. Incomplete. It'll make for a 3rd and 8.
Now you keep in mind, inexperienced quarterback, inexperienced offensive line. They're doing things to help him out. Get him outside the pocket. He's comfortable. He's athletic. And didn't get a little help there from Boyce, who just lost that one there after he had it, started going down. But Boyce is a guy that can make plays. He can be a big-time receiver. One drop like that isn't going to bother him. They'll keep going back to him, and he's a guy that can really have an impact on a game.
Freshman All-American a year ago. 3rd and 8. Ball was tipped and off the hands of Boyce So the good field position for TCU after the defense did the job. Now the Baylor defense responds. Anson Kelton.
Is that not the biggest punter you've ever
6'4",
seen?
280 pounds. Baylor doesn't have a single starter on the defensive line who weighs more than Anson Kelton. And the fair catch is brought in at the 20. Hot night and hot action. Baylor up 7-6. Baylor up a point on number 14 TCU. Rod, here's what they're trying to build on. They got a bowl invite last year, ending a 16-year drought. They created some positive momentum, but then sagged off the last 4 games.
Yeah, but they got to their first bowl game. And the other thing is Art Browse is building. You notice that he's not only doing a great job recruiting high school guys, he's getting good transfers in here as well at Baylor.
Talk about some of those guys as the night progresses. Ganaway out of the backfield. And that's Griffin. A little high that time as he was trying to get it to Tevin Reese, who had 45 receptions a year ago as a freshman.
You know, Tess, this offense is unique in that it is a spread option offense, but the option part is often a pass incorporated with a run. So they can actually go to throwing the football down the field while running an option play.
So instead of that pitch being the third part of the option, you're saying him putting it downfield.
Yeah, exactly.
Third tier there. Ganaway going to test that near side and nothing doing as Takaren Cuba came up from that weak safety spot to get Ganaway.
And Ganaway is important to this offense because all that option stuff, the screen passes, that's just to get the defense going wide. And you have to pound them back inside, and Ganaway is big enough to do that.
3rd and 10 now for Griff.
Got a false start.
False start. Offense. Number 79. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Now that's the other Robert Griffin. That's Robert T. Griffin, the right guard.
No relation.
RG3 is the quarterback. They jokingly call the right guard RG2. By the way, he has him by 115 pounds.
Yeah.
He goes 335.
Yeah, that would be RG4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now backed up to a 3rd and 15 after the false start. Griffin trying to shake loose and nowhere to go at all. Braylon Broughton, DJ Yendry, and Stanley Mapanga meeting up with Robert Griffin III.
Well, when Gary Patterson can get you in predictable situations, you're going to feel the heat. And 3rd and 15 is pretty predictable. They run a stunt here. Mapanga comes on a twist from the outside to the inside, beats his man. He's got great speed, great athlete, Mapanga, to make that sack.
Spencer Roth, a true freshman from Knoxville, back on to punt. Sky Dawson from just over midfield, and that's a good special teams tackle that time by Darius Jones. Sky Dawson unable to shake loose. Of course, a year ago, the magic happened for TCU. 13-0, all the glory out in Pasadena. Number 2 in the final rankings.
You know, going into the year, folks called Andy Dalton a late-round draft pick, maybe even a free agent. He played his way into a second-round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals and will be their starter opening weekend.
You can see a lot of folks made that 87-mile trip down to see their team have their opener this year. Raymond James with a good hard run to the edge.
Number 32, Raymond James.
You know, Tess, TCU has 3 or 4 really good running backs. That is the strength of their offense. James is one of them. Wesley is another. We'll see. They'll just keep rotating them in, and they look alike.
They do.
They're about, what, 200 pounds and 5'9"?
A lot of guys that are about 5'9", 200. A lot of bowling balls.
In the backfield at TCU.
Hard to tackle.
And here's Matthew Tucker. And now Sky Dawson coming around, and a good block in front for Dawson to pick up the first down before Elliott Coffey finally got to him. That was Matthew Tucker, the running back we were just discussing, getting out in front for the speedy receiver.
Yeah, they want to use that as a change-up. Dawson is incredibly quick and fast, and that works. Track champ in 60 meters.
He's 6.69.
Crazy. You get him going to the outside, then you have those big running backs to run back inside with.
Out of the gun, delayed. Looked like he wanted to hand it off. He kept it himself, and he was wrapped up by Elliott Coffey. We were showing you Sky Dawson's accomplishments in track. Here's what he looks like out there. 2010 Mountain West Conference Indoor Championships in the 60-meter. This ends up being the 3rd fastest time in Mountain West Conference history. That's 6.69.
But what that means is you have to respect that speed when he's on the field, so he's going to get a lot of room and draw some attention.
2nd and 12 for Paul Hall. Pressure up the middle. He launches it up. Boyce is underneath it, and Boyce is tripped up inside the 10, all the way down to the 40-yard line. Mike Hicks got just a piece of Josh Boyce.
And Boyce was able to get there because of the great clear-out run by Dawson. Look at the pressure inside by Jean-Baptiste, but Paul Hall hangs in there to get the ball to Boyce. But Boyce got open because Sky Dawson was able to draw some attention as he ran a post and cleared it out for Boyce to get free behind him.
You see that there is a Baylor defender down at the end of that play as the medical staff tends to him. So a good start to the night for Casey Paul Hall. Had the rushing touchdown, and now a big completion to put TCU in scoring position again. Cornerback Tyler Stevenson down on the field, and we'll take a break. Tyler Stevenson made his way off the field, was able to walk off the field, the cornerback for Baylor. Baylor up a point, but TCU, with that big strike to Josh Boyce, is in good position here just inside the 5-yard line. Here's Tucker to the edge. Touchdown, Frogs. 16 career touchdowns now in 27 career games for Matthew Tucker.
And that is the 3rd TCU running back we've seen handle the ball in a big situation for them tonight. Tucker also over 200 pounds. He's the biggest at 6'1", 218.
They are loaded in the backfield. Evans this time gets it high enough. Remember, first PAT of the night was blocked.
Well, they do a really nice job of packing them inside with that full house formation, and they get Baylor focused inside, and they get a little bit of leverage when they pull the blockers out in front. It's really easy for Tucker to get to the edge, as they just kind of seduced all of the Baylor linebackers and safeties to stay inside with that full house backfill set, and then got the leverage on them by pulling a guard around to seal everybody inside.
Boyce had that 38-yard reception. Set up Matthew Tucker with the 4-yard touchdown run. So Tyler Stevenson go down at the end of that play, and Josh Boyce hauled in. Baylor, of course, talked about it all week, Rod, and prepping for this game. A little thin in that defensive backfield to begin with.
Yeah, they can't afford to lose much. You see Phil Bennett there working with his guys.
Glasgow Martin. And Martin is hit hard at the 20. Sam, what can you tell us about Stevenson?
Yeah, you guys saw him come off. He's in excruciating pain. It's that left ankle. I haven't gotten anything confirmed yet, but it looks terrible right now. He has teammates, one of his teammates almost kind of sitting on his lap trying to console him. They're rubbing his head right now. Guys, he's having a hard time. Here's the worst part about it. His backup, KJ Morton, is out. They are already very thin in the secondary, but especially at corner. That's a huge blow for this Baylor defense.
KJ Morton, a JUCO transfer, who is injured. They've gone so far in that defensive backfield, Rod, as they brought in a transfer, a basketball player from Gonzaga who they said could hit the field. We'll see if that happens here tonight. And that quick toss, almost a lateral, as Tevin Reese was unable to corral it.
You know, it just seems like after that opening drive and in the bad field position that somehow Baylor kind of lost their focus a little bit. TCU came right back and a couple mistakes, and now they're sort of fighting themselves. A couple mistakes, penalties, dropping balls.
Yeah, last two drives, 6 plays, a yard, and 2 punts. First drive, 6 plays, 72 yards, a touchdown. There's Ganaway, and he's able to get about 3 yards as Chris Gardner, the backup middle linebacker, was able to find Ganaway. Well, put him in another 3rd and long now for Griffin.
Yeah, and if you can't get your linemen on those linebackers, they're going to make plays all day. And right now, you're in a situation where Gary Patterson can dial it up and come after you.
Griffin lofts it, and he's got it. Complete to Kendall Wright, a first down for Baylor to the TCU 45. Jason Verrett was on the coverage of the senior Kendall Wright.
Well, yeah, and he beat him. You know, man coverage, a little bit of pressure inside, and he just beat Verrett to the outside.
And a quick snap, Ganaway fights his way close to the 41-yard line as Cuba came in to make the tackle on the senior running back. You know, a 32-yard connection to Kendall Wright to get them out of that hole, Rod.
Yeah, there will be mistakes. You've got a lot of new guys starting for the first time for TCU on that defense.
A lot of new faces for both teams.
You know, we've not seen Griffin really get to the edge yet on anything designed for him. It's all been inside so far.
Time for Ganaway, and RG3 just put it right in that pocket.
Well, the game plan is simple, really. You know, Ganaway is 240 pounds. They want to use him inside, and they want to use Griffin's speed and the screen passes to the outside to make that defense move around and be a little soft inside.
Flag came in there. Looks like it's a false start. Terrence Ganaway.
False start. Offense, number 16. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Baylor running back played at Houston as a freshman under Coach Briles. His mom passed away of cancer when he was at Houston. He was one of 11 children. Sat out for a year after her death. Then came back, and instead of going to Houston, he followed Coach here to Baylor.
Behind Jay Finley last season. Worked incredibly hard this offseason. Was not expected to be the starter, but just worked so hard he got the spot. And his size really helps that offense.
Finley, of course, was drafted by the Bengals. Such a productive back here at Baylor. And we get a glimpse of Robert Griffin III's ability to sneak through the middle of that defense. Sam Carter and Ross Forrest on the tackle of RG3. 2nd and 10, and Jared Salubi comes in to see his first action. Play action. He's going downfield for it all. Touchdown, Baylor! Kendall Wright. He's thrown one, and now he hauls one in. Got a flag at the end of that touchdown, but it came in after Wright was already celebrating in the end zone. Let's see what the call is. Big plays for Baylor tonight.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 1. TCU has elected the option to enforce a 15-yard penalty on the ensuing kickoff. The touchdown's good, try for point.
Now, Tess, you know we have a new rule this year. Unsportsmanlike conduct, if you're going into the end zone before you score, will take off the touchdown. This one occurred after the score, after the touchdown, a little celebration, unsportsmanlike, and they flagged him for that.
And with that extra point, Baylor goes back out in front of 14th ranked TCU.
Hey, Tess, nothing fancy here. Simple man coverage on the outside, and Wright simply beats Verrett to the outside, gets a free release, beats him into the end zone. Now, at the end of this, here's where he gets flagged because he draws attention to himself with a little bit of this. Watch what he shows you. Not the shake, that one right there. Across the neck, across the upper body, can't do it, will be flagged. And fortunately for him, it was a dead ball foul, so it doesn't take the points off the scoreboard.
Impressive opening quarter for Kendall Wright. He had a 40-yard touchdown pass to Terrence Williams on the opening drive, and here with the 35-yard touchdown reception.
How do you feel about that new rule? It hasn't gone into effect in this game because that was a dead ball foul, not a live ball.
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
I feel that you and I spent an hour and a half in a seminar debating it with Rogers Reddings, the head of officials for college football. And I think we could debate for another month.
We're going to see it. It's going to happen. If not this weekend, real soon. Somebody is going to make a mistake and draw attention, celebrate going into the end zone, or a teammate will, and the touchdown will not count.
By the way, Rogers is here tonight at this Friday night game. But as we said, dead ball, the 15 yards, march back here for the kickoff. If that happens in the field of play, it's a spot foul, excessive celebration, taunting the unsportsmanlike. Then Parks to kick. And here is McCoy. Remember, he had a 73-yard return last time, and here he goes again. Good block out in front. Oh, boy, McCoy inside the 25.
McCoy is having a night, but not without some help. He's getting some great blocking by his special team teammates. I mean, he gets a big hole and then gets a great block from Stephen Bryant. And then another throw-out reads it perfectly well behind Bryant to get to the edge. A couple of great blocks in there to give him a huge lane, and TCU is in business inside the 25.
68-yard return. Back and forth these teams go. James now. And he slips. Tries to stay on his feet, but he'll be marked down at the 21-yard line.
You know, Tess, last season, Andy Dalton was the quarterback. This area of the field, the scoring zone, once you get inside that 30-yard line, around that 30 scoring zone, they trusted Andy Dalton to take shots if he wanted to. I mean, they felt really good about him making plays, taking gambles. Maybe not so with Casey Paul. They open up running. Do they let him throw it, or do they keep it on the ground here?
Ball home. He's going to go to the end zone. And that is batted away Good defensive play by Chance Casey.
And that was almost picked off. Casey did a great job. He turned his head, found the ball, played the ball at the highest point. This is textbook cornerback play. He finds it, and he gets up high. That is a great, great play.
It's been a long time since Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco's been this loud. They are loving it.
Well, here again, 3rd and 10. How much do you trust your quarterback? I mean, you're at the edge where you can try a field goal.
This is where Dalton was at his best.
Exactly.
Now we find out about the sophomore as the play clock runs down. And a timeout is called by TCU.
Timeout. TCU. This will be a 30-second team timeout.
Let's go to the studio and check in with Ryan Burr. Ryan.
All right, Joe T, let's get a studio update now. Youngstown State and Michigan State. Larry Capers gave the Spartans a 7-0 lead, but back comes Youngstown State, Yelani Barosa. But they missed the extra point, so 7-6 Michigan State. The Spartans are first and goal. We'll keep you updated. Joe and Rod.
14-13. Baylor up with a missed extra point, the blocked extra point earlier, and they're looking for their defense to Sicko. That is the hand signal here in Waco. TCU has such great average field position starting their drives at the Baylor 36, and they're trying to take advantage once again, now facing a 3rd and 10 as the new D-court, Phil Bennett, looks to rally the troops, and the crowd did their job.
Inexperienced offensive line, loud crowd, new quarterback.
False start. Offense. Everyone but the center. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's a classic. Randy Crystal, the referee, false start. Everybody but the center. All you guys.
That's almost as good as he's got the quarterback down, giving him the business.
That is a classic. 3rd and 15 for Paul Hall. And that is incomplete. It would have been short of the line to make. He was looking for Josh Boyce. And Brody Trahan, the former quarterback, on coverage as he's been moved over to linebacker. The pressure came from Jared Edwards.
Yeah, Baylor rising up, playing a little defense, predictable situation here. Pressure coming from Edwards. 92, Jared Edwards getting in there, but that was a predictable passing situation, and Baylor came after him. They're on the edge here. It's a pretty deep field goal for them.
Ross Evans, 11 of 13 last year with a long of 43. This from 44. And he puts it through. So TCU retakes the lead. For tonight's Real Deal, brought to you by Wendy's. We take a look at Robert Griffin III and all the accolades and the great resume that he's been building, Rob.
Yeah, I keep telling you, track man, but he is a quarterback. No mistake about it. Look at that, almost 65% completion percentage. And he's not afraid to stand in the pocket and deliver the football.
You can vote for the Real Deal at ESPN.com on your mobile phone. Oh, look who's sitting there on the sideline. Number 9.
Yeah.
That is Lake Seastrunk. Or Seastrunk, the center of a lot of the controversy up at Oregon this offseason. One of the top recruits in the country a year and a half ago, who has now transferred here to Baylor.
And he may be eligible to play at some point this season.
Well, Evans just made the field goal, and now he kicks off. And at the 5-yard line, this is Salubi. And Jared Salubi is taken down at the 28. So Lake Seastrunk, who grew up about 35 miles away in Temple, Texas, was a big-time recruit who made his way out to Oregon. And then you know all the controversy of the NCAA requesting information surrounding Willie Lyles, and Seastruck's name attached to a lot of that. Medical issues in his family, so transferred back home, looking for a fresh start, be close to the family, and looking for a special waiver by the NCAA, which would make him immediately eligible this season. And just a 2-yard gain that time by Ganaway.
You know, Art Briles told us yesterday when we asked about the transfer, he said, you know why? His last name is Texas.
Yeah, you're from Texas. You have a tendency to come back home. There's been a few of those on Baylor. Jordan Niver, number 18, the tight end, was out at Stanford as a big recruit. He was a Texan who decided Palo Alto wasn't for him, came back to the Bears. Here's Griff again. And a good swing downfield, crossing midfield to Terrence Williams. So Robert Griffin III is finding his rhythm with the passing game.
And he's finding the man coverage, the single coverage. I love this, what he does here. He threw the ball very nicely, but it was the cerebral part, the fact that he looked down the field and found the weakness and came back to it.
Ganaway, RG3 thought that he was to the left, but Ganaway came to the right for that handoff that time. As he was taken down by Carter. But they cross midfield again. Just under a minute to go in what has been an action-packed first quarter.
When's the last time you've seen a TCU defense on its heels a bit?
Listen, some changes, especially in that backfield and that defensive end. And this is a much more confident Baylor team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. 2nd and 8 now. And once again, Wright, and Kendall Wright gets free. Jason Verrett finally able to force him out.
Look, let's not sleep on Kendall Wright. I mean, it's not like he's not a good football player. And this guy is quick, about a 4.4 guy. He's very likely to be a 4th-round pick, 3rd-round pick, you know, depending on how this season goes. But he's a guy that is on the radar of the NFL scouts.
If he maintains this level, he's going to break every school record for receiving here at Baylor. So a first down inside the 40-yard line. And away in the backfield with Griffin. And away just a gain of 2 that time as Chris Gardner was able to find him. How about that for a start to the Friday night primetime schedule? Back and forth they went. TCU up 16-14, a highlight-filled opening chapter.
Getting back to what's the trap.
Fast, fearless, physical. Fast, fearless, physical. Play hard. Play smart. Play with passion. This is our family. You understand? We're fighting for everybody in this room right now.
Art Briles preaching fast, fearless, physical, and that's what Baylor has been against the defending Rose Bowl champs in a back-and-forth first quarter. They look up at that scoreboard, driving the ball into TCU side of the field, trailing by 2 now. Ganaway, straight up the middle, still powering ahead for a first down. Glad you're with us here. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, and Samantha Steele. Remember, TCU, 25-game regular season win streak. A team that a year ago just dismantled this Baylor squad, 45-10 in a real fight here tonight. And that guy has a lot to do with it. Robert Griffin III. Strike, and once again into the end zone is Kendall Wright.
Otez, he's wearing them out. They take their time, they find that it's man coverage, and Wright goes to work on Verrett again. I mean, Griffin is sitting back there because of the running game inside. They're finding that they have to play single coverage on the outside, and Griffin is wearing them out with it.
2 touchdown passes now for RG3. Second touchdown reception of the night for Kendall Wright. Oh, we got a game in Waco. Gary Patterson's not used to sweating over his defense, Rod.
No, not at all. I mean, he thought coming into this game that if they handled the screen passes, that they'd be in pretty good shape. Well, it hasn't been a problem with the screen passes. It's been the trick screen pass. It's been the deep ball. And Kendall Wright has been involved in every last one of those touchdowns.
And there isn't a better defensive coach than Gary Patterson. TCU's led the nation in defense 5 of the last 11 years, but Kendall Wright is having himself a very special night. And they're going to loft this short as it is fielded by James, and he gets it out to the 40-yard line. Let's check in with Ryan Burr. Ryan?
All right, Joe T., we told you Youngstown State cut it to a 1-point lead, but back comes the Spartans. Kirk Cousins going up top to B.J. Cunningham. 55 yards, and Michigan State was in business inside the 20-yard line. LaVon Bell does the rest, takes the handoff, scampers outside, and just like that, Michigan State back up 14-6, 2:20 to go in the half. Joe?
40-yard line is actually TCU's worst starting field position, but Ed Wesley tries to make up for that, looking to spin free, but unable to get past Joe Williams. Let's check in with Sam.
Yeah, guys, for the first time this game, it is nearly silent on this TCU sideline. But make no mistake about it, Tank Carter is doing everything he can to get these guys going. When Jason Barrett came off the field after getting burned by Kendall Wright, he got in his face a little bit and said, hey, there's no time. No time to be down about this stuff. He was disappointed, but Tank Carter's doing his best to get everybody going.
Jason's had a tough go of it, Samantha. 2nd and 6 here. Sky Dawson looking to reverse field. And that's his quarterback out in front, and watch out for Dawson. Showing a little of that track speed. Ahmad Dixon was able to chase down the junior Sky Dawson, but a 32-yard gain on what is a design counter that we saw in practice this week, Ralph.
Yeah, the idea is to get you flowing and then simply let Sky Dawkins do it with his speed to get you out of position and show you a big play. Now what they do, once they get you thinking about that on the edge, they come back and pound you inside with those big running backs like Ed Wesley.
And here is Wesley. And this time, Wesley is taken down by Terrence Lloyd, who's perhaps the most consistent and steady of the Baylor defensive linemen.
When the outside game works for TCU, the inside game works, and vice versa. And they've got the backs to do it. It makes it easier for Paul Hall. He doesn't have to carry the offense the way Dalton did.
Josh Boyce goes to the far side for Paul Hall as Wesley is in the I formation as the tailback. Play action. Paul Hall, plenty of time, and a touchdown to Logan Brock. Paul Hall came into the game with one career touchdown pass. It was Brock who caught it. He goes back to him here to retake the lead.
Yeah, it's a 2 tight end set test, and they think run. And you simply have Brock go right up the seam while everybody's thinking about that running game with the big running backs, and they get an easy touchdown throw.
And Ross Evans tacks on the extra point. 23-21. 5th lead change of the game with still 12:32 to go in the half. Good stuff.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event, now through September 6th. See your Lexus dealer. And the Principal Financial Group. It's time to see your financial future. It's time to dream again with the Principal.
TCU up 23-21. A little Texas brawl here in Waco. 5 lead changes. Of course, Dallas sports fan, for everything you need to know about the teams you care about, you can log on to ESPNDallas.com. You can watch your daily Dallas Sports Center every morning. All the coverage you're used to from ESPN. It's got a local favorite, ESPNDallas.com. And Rod and I will have a post-game wrap on ESPNDallas.com following this Baylor TCU game.
You can log on right now and check on the greatest Dallas college football game. You know, Tess, we've got ESPN.com Dallas up here in the booth too.
You got everything working. You're Mr. Technology. Darius Jones now from the 5. And Jones, look at this! Just past the kicker and tripped up at the 40-yard line. That was Jonathan Anderson with a touchdown-saving tackle. Rod, did an Arena Football League team just move to Waco, Texas? This game is unbelievable back and forth.
My goodness. You know, and even highly recruited players like Jason Verrett, he's a corner. JC Transfer, having a tough night in his first collegiate game, which is a track meet. Kendall Wright has thrown a touchdown over him off a trick play and then beaten him a couple times in man coverage for touchdowns. But trust me, I've been there. That first game as a corner, it can be challenging, but you can bounce back from him. Jason Verrett will.
Back and forth they go. Now here's Ganaway getting to the edge. Stiff arm. First down, and tumbles forward to the 24-yard line. Good solid run by Terrence Ganaway as he stiff-armed Cuba out of the way. They are hurrying up at the line of scrimmage. Griff feeds him again, and look at Ganaway shredding now into this TCU defense.
Tess, you know, when you get your linemen on those linebackers, it's easy to run inside. Baylor has everything working now. The deep ball against man coverage. Speed to the outside. Ganaway power inside. The linemen getting on the linebackers.
First down at the 14 as all of a sudden Robert Griffin III takes a breath at the line of scrimmage and looks over. A frantic pace being set in this first half of action. What a fake. Touchdown, Bears. Oh, boy, did RG3 sell that. Jordan Nyber, the transfer from Stanford, on the receiving end.
And Griffin sold that fake. Both linebackers, Tanner Brock, Tank Carter, they both came flying up to the line of scrimmage, and Nyber just snuck in behind them.
That is blocked. 2 blocked PATs tonight. Each team has had one. That looked like Big Braylon Broughton, so the score will be 27-23.
Hey, Tess, your linebackers here. Look at what happens. They are thinking run because of all the success that Baylor's had. They come flying up. And then you see Chris Gardner, 33, should be back there, can't get back. He's thinking run. What a great play fake by Robert Griffin III.
Rod, you and I, for years, have talked about our opening week game, and we always say the same thing. Typically, coming out of camp, the defense is ahead of the offense. Defense can just react.
Yep.
Athletes can just run to the ball.
Yep.
Not tonight.
Well, a couple things. We've got a TCU defense that's replacing a lot of guys. You know, Tank Carter is one of the few veterans back there. And so they're struggling a little bit, particularly in the man coverage area in the secondary. Baylor was not a great defense last year. They've made changes this year. They've gone to a different set. So you expect them to have trouble. You didn't necessarily expect TCU to have as much trouble defensively.
27 points against a TCU defense. Unheard of in recent years. Here's McCoy. Remember what he's done tonight. And this time, he is taken down just over the 26.
Nobody wants to kick off anymore.
A fast start tonight, indeed. 7 touchdowns, nearly 400 yards of offense combined.
Opening week, you typically have issues in your kicking game. And typically your offense is a little bit slow, a little bit off. Well, offense has been great tonight. Defense has been shaky. Special teams, at least tackling, has been awful. But the return men, fantastic.
Wesley and Tucker in the backfield. And this is Paul Hall, and he took a big hit that time by Sam Hall.
Welcome.
Sam Hall coming up and introducing himself to Paul Hall. Oh, listen to that.
Good, clean hit. Head up, eyes open.
You know defensive coordinator Phil Bennett is loving some hard-nosed defense.
Clear eyes, full heart.
He was talking it up all day yesterday, wasn't he? So after the 4-yard gain by Paul Hall, now Wesley gets loose. Ed Wesley crosses midfield for a big gainer down to the 45-yard line.
Well, we keep talking about these running backs, and you know that they're going to break them. They keep making guys miss, and that offensive line actually doing a really good job inside. Watch the way Wesley finds that outside after getting a great block inside by his left guard, Kyle Dooley, 55, and he just really cut off of that and did a nice job.
Now the Super Frog likes that offense moving the ball. Ed Wesley's done plenty of that 1,000-yard rusher a year ago, and Paul Hall looking to lean on him here. Pump fake, goes deep, and that was thrown to the outside of Josh Boyce. Joe Williams tried to come over.
Yeah, Boyce frustrated there, and he actually toned it down a little bit. He's got a young quarterback back there, and he made clear it wasn't his fault, Boyce's fault. Now, I'm not sure you want to call out your quarterback publicly like that. I mean, right now, Boyce is the veteran. I mean, he's the guy that's played a lot more. And I'm sure he's a little frustrated. Had a drop early in the ball game. Hasn't had a lot of catches tonight. But he's a guy that's going to have to make plays for TCU.
This is Wayman James. And James spins for a 5-yard gain, and it was Sam Hall who came up from that safety position again.
The one thing is clear about Hall, he is a hitter.
Now this is an interesting part of the field, Rod, here on what will be a 3rd and 4. What do you expect out of TCU?
Well, they're right outside that scoring zone. They can't kick a field goal from here. I believe that they're going to go ahead and let Paul Hall, take a shot. I mean, he's actually done well. They're in actually 2-down territory. They could go for it on 4th down the way that their offense has moved the ball.
James swings out of the backfield. Paul Hall, and that is incomplete. Would have been good for a 1st down, but it was off the hands of Antoine Hicks.
And I see now, when you throw it, you don't get anything out of it on 3rd down instead of running it on 3rd down. I think you have to kick it now. Right? Now you take your chance of trying to pin them down. If you don't kick it and you go here and you don't make it, I mean, look at the short field. You're going to give this offense that's already put up 27 points on you.
Paul Hall's going to stay out on the field.
Yeah, they may make it, but I think this is too risky here. I mean, you're going to wake up this crowd and really get this team going on the Baylor side if you don't get this.
Has time, has a man. Stretching for the 1st down is Antoine Hicks, and a flag comes in.
It's going to be holding on TCU.
So it's an automatic.
Yeah, they pick it up.
1st down with the penalty against Baylor regardless. So a smile breaks out on the face of Gary Patterson.
Relief. That was a big gamble.
And running and turning and yelling. And now he smiles for a moment.
Well, that was a big gamble, and he knows it. And he felt like he had to do it, and he got it. He picked it up.
Well, we had a great visit with Gary the other night. Went out to dinner with him, and he was talking about the evolution of the program and now where they are and the type of recruits, and Andy goes off into the sunset of the NFL, and this is the kind of year you find out a lot about yourself.
Yeah. Well, it was actually date night with his wife, Kelsey, and we interrupted that.
You barged in on that.
Yeah. And what did he bring up? 50 First Dates? That movie?
He's a big fan.
Yeah.
Big fan of the chick flick.
He was actually talking about it in relation to freshmen. He said they forget things.
Holding. Defense. Number 4. Hold was an eligible receiver. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Remember the big offseason change for Baylor? Defensive coordinator Phil Bennett's on board.
Yeah.
Think he's fired up on a 4th down?
He knew how big that was. He knew that if they stopped him, that was a big momentum shift.
So now the Frogs with a fresh set of downs at the 29. Ed Wesley. And Wesley is corralled at the 27 by Nicholas Jean-Baptiste, the former walk-on who's been blossoming every year, a 335-pound season.
Now remember the last time that TCU had a 2nd and short, they came with a formation of 2 tight ends, showed run, snuck one of their tight ends out, Brock, for a touchdown pass.
And it was in this area of the field. That was a 23-yard touchdown pass. Here they set camp at the 27 with a 2nd and 8. Wesley again. Ball came out. And it looks like they're going to rule him down.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. It looked like he was slipping and then his knee hit and then the ball came out.
They'll make for a 3rd down at about 6.
This is another big 3rd down. Right now, the 25.
Options here.
Yeah, 25, you're looking at a 42-yard field goal if you don't pick up another yard here.
Moss Evans was consistent a year ago. But let's see what they do here on 3rd down. A delayed handoff, Tucker, and Tucker is wrapped up by Terrence Lloyd. Great defensive play by Lloyd.
No, great play by Lloyd because he was engaged by a lineman. He disengaged from the block and came off and made the tackle. And that's a big-time play. Top of your screen, look at it. He's being blocked. He comes off the block and makes the play. If he doesn't make that tackle, they pick up a 1st down.
So out comes the senior from Burnett, Texas. His 4th year as the starting kicker, Ross Evans. This from 41, he's made from 44. And that was off to the left. And Phil Bennett says, way to go, Bears. The defense holds, and Baylor maintains a 4-point lead. 14th ranked team in the country, facing a fired-up Baylor team tonight here in Waco, and their D-Cord is leading the way.
Ryan Burr in studio checking out over on ESPN2. U.S. Open center court. A couple of Americans going to battle there. Jack Sock taking on Andy Roddick. Currently Sock up 2-1, but they are on serve. Deuce now in the second. U.S. Open, ESPN2 all weekend long. Currently Andy Roddick on center court. Joe T.
Samantha, anything down there? Samantha, anything? Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, and Samantha Steele back here in Waco, Texas. Baylor up 27-23. It's been a long time since the Bears were able to topple a ranked team. You go back to 2004 against the Aggies. Here's Robert Griffin III, and another well-placed ball to Kendall Wright, who's been the do-it-all tonight.
You know, Tess, they have been working this defense over the last 4 or 5 years. No one's played better defense than TCU.
Look at Terrence Ganaway. Nice spin move, kept his balance for a 1st down. Sam Carter finally got to him, but just good, hard running by Ganaway.
Well, good blocking at the point of attack. Missed tackles. 2 missed tackles. Great running by Ganaway. And again, this TCU defense, last 4 or 5 years, they've been as good as anybody.
First down from the 47.
Empty backfield now for RG3. Some pressure comes. If he gets to space, watch out. But he was pushed out by Sam Carter. What a difference a year makes. The TCU defense. Last year, best in the biz. Tonight, Baylor's putting up points.
Well, and if you go back 3, 4, 5 years, no one's been better in total defense, in run defense, and pass defense.
Second and 5 from the 48.
And they've been in the top 5 for the last 5, 6 years or so, it seems.
I think that Tim Carter has a lot to do with it. The screen game now. Tevin Reese. The ball came loose at the end, but the whistle came in. Kenny Payne is on top of Tevin Reese.
You know, Tess, when you've played great defense like that for so long, and you have a night like this, it starts to eat at the confidence of even your veteran players like Carter.
It's not who you are.
Yeah.
You're not used to it.
Exactly.
You don't know this to be.
And nothing you try, it's working. They try blitzing, they try man coverage, they try zone. When they play zone, they get run against. When they play man, they throw touchdowns on them.
Ganaway looking for that first down, and he's got it by 1.5 yards.
And it's not scheme. You know, coaches will tell you. It's about players.
Yeah, look at this. You go back to 2008. Number 1 straight through. Best defense in the modern era. Led him to a Rose Bowl championship a year ago where Tank Carter was the defensive MVP out in Pasadena. And once again, quickly out to Jordan Niver, the 6'6" tight end who transferred from Stanford.
Well, with Stanford having at least 3 tight ends on their roster who are going to play in the NFL, Niver was going to have a hard time getting a lot of playing time.
Second and 6 from the 38.
Herb Riles. This Baylor offense. They are moving it tonight. Griffin's going to take another shot. Kendall Wright. What athleticism by Kendall Wright.
And not a bad throw either.
Griffin put it where only Wright could get it, and somehow, some way, he did.
Yeah, and Patterson is upset.
I don't know about that right leg, Rod.
Well, Patterson is upset that Wright got away with a little push-off with the right hand. But it was such a slight push-off, it doesn't get called.
Amazing twist and turn and stretching out, but watch the foot as it comes down, and that's what the officials will take a look at. Replay judge is Jack McDonald. Remember, they need that indisputable video evidence to overturn it because the call on the field is a catch. So do they have that video evidence here?
Now there's the catch. Left foot is down.
Then
right foot's
the right
out.
foot comes
but it may be the left foot was already in bounds as he caught the ball.
Exactly. Watch that left foot. Does he have control of the ball when the left foot is already established?
Yeah, he's got the ball and the left foot was in there. That's going to be a tough call. I'm not sure there's enough to overturn that. The right foot, in my view, came down after he had possession, but he caught the ball, and it looked like his left foot was still on the ground when he caught the ball.
Kendall Wright is putting on a showcase evening. Gary Patterson is talking up to his DBs. That's to Karen Kuba. Patterson loves coaching up that defense, but he doesn't like what he's seeing here as Robert Griffin III is taking shots downfield and connecting.
Yeah, left foot catch, left foot down, now right foot out. I think that's a catch.
The advantage to Baylor is the fact that the call on the field is a completion.
Yeah, and you look right there. He had the left foot down and had his hands, both hands on the ball. I don't think you can overturn that.
After further video review, the ruling on the field stands as called.
8 catches for 159 yards now in the first half for Kendall Wright.
He is no slouch. He's got great body control, great quickness, runs really good routes. As you saw, outstanding hands. The country just hasn't known about him. You haven't seen a lot of Baylor.
Baylor is healthy on offense and loaded with athletes. And this is Glasgow Martin in the backfield. A direct snap now to Terrence Ganaway, and Baylor adds to the lead.
For the extra point.
Aaron Jones with the extra point. An 11-point lead for the upset-minded Baylor Bears. Ganaway straight through the middle. And a dagger straight into the chest of Coach Patterson. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, Samantha Steele here in Waco, where Baylor is just stunning TCU 34-23.
You remember when the triplets were rolling for Dallas, the Dallas Cowboys?
Absolutely, just up the road.
There's a version of that going on here at Baylor.
And Kendall Wright, the wide receiver, is leading the way.
He's playing the role of Michael Irvin.
And RG3 is showing what he has evolved into, the junior quarterback who some people say is a long shot Heisman guy out there. And this is Greg McCoy. Remember, he had a 73-yarder, a 68-yard return. He's looking for open space here, and he finds a lane and a good return again for the senior Greg McCoy. Celebrating its 7th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed more than $2.4 million in scholarship money. You can tack on a lot more to that with tonight's scoreboard as a late flag came in. Let's get the call.
During the return, early the block in the back. Number 32. Be a 10-yard penalty. First down.
It's Raymond James, the backup running back who plays special teams for Coach Patterson.
And now you want Paul Hall to be patient. A lot of scoring by Baylor. There might be this tendency to think, I got to rush and get it all back. And then the mistake happens. And then it starts to snowball. So he can't try and do things that don't work for him. Can't force it. Can't try to make something happen when it's not there.
First-time starter for TCU after the legendary run of Andy Dalton. Throws a strike to the flats here to Sky Dawson, who was tripped up right away by Mike Hicks and Ahmad Dixon.
Patience is the word for Paul Hall right now. The worst thing he could do is gamble. A nice, methodical, patient drive is what TCU needs, and not a big gamble, because Baylor is not going to give up a cheap one. They're going to be playing really soft coverage.
Sky Dawson now. Dawson looking for a block, and he lowers the shoulder for a first down. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta, presented by Pennzoil. Coverage begins on ESPN Sunday at 6:30 Eastern.
There's a lot happening in Atlanta this weekend. You got NASCAR, you got Boise State and Georgia Saturday night, so
that's going to be a great one. Number 5 Boise against number 19 Georgia. The second meeting between the two teams. Remember back in 05 they had the opener when Georgia was 13th and they routed Boise 48-13. Different story this time with the Broncos. First down, the pitch to Wesley, and he is ridden out of bounds by Brody Trahan. Let's check in with Sam.
Guys, Phil Bennett is about out of a voice. He has been incredibly passionate, just as we saw him in the meetings yesterday. He got his defense together and said, guys, you're a ball team. You can win this game. He told them just what he told us yesterday, guys. He wants them to push them to the boundary and not give up that field.
Now, Sam, you know Bennett, the longtime defensive guru, who's talking up what his task was with us yesterday. This Baylor defense, Rod, gave up over 30 points a game last year.
You know what? they were awful last year. To put it bluntly, they were not good. But they've changed their scheme. Now they're a nickel-based defense. 5 defensive backs on the field at all times. And they will bring a lot of pressure when they need to. It looks like that's Wesley that's down on the sideline over there.
At the end of that last play there. As he makes the short walk.
But this defense believes in making the quarterback earn it. They're not going to give up a cheap one to Paul Hall. They want Paul Hall to prove that he can throw 6, 7, 8 passes in a row to get down the field.
Paul Hall out of the line, 2nd and 7. Tucker and James in the backfield with him. Gets the protection and gets Boyce. And Boyce is able to secure it for a first down before he was ridden down by Chance Casey.
And so far, so good for Paul Hall on this drive. He has not tried to force it. He's taken what's been there, the quick out, the quick pop to the screen, running it when they need to, but he's not tried to really throw it deep because it's not there. So he's being patient.
Here goes Paul Hall out to the edge, keeping his feet, and then he was ridden down hard out of bounds, and that TCU bench is looking for a flag as Brody Trahan pushed Paul Hall out. Trahan himself knows what it's like to be a quarterback, spent his first 2 seasons as a quarterback here at Baylor.
Hall misses the tackle. Not going to get a flag here, and he was still up and right on the edge. Trahan did a nice job of trying to finish up over there.
As a third-string quarterback behind RG3, made the move to now being a defensive starter. Incomplete as the pressure came by Terrence Roy, the sophomore defensive end for the Bears.
The last time that TCU was in this area of the field, they threw it on 3rd down and then went for it on 4th down. I'm thinking they'll be a little bit more patient this time and figure they've got 2 downs to pick it up here. 2:34 to go. No reason for them to be in a hurry.
That is James, but he is taken down. Good play of going low by Joe Williams. Interesting comment made about Joe Williams to us. This is a JUCO transfer that they're forced to put out on the field. They said he's not totally ready to play. And he's coming up big in a spot like that.
Yeah, but they said if he played, he would play fast. He would go hit somebody.
And we're going to go for it here on a 4th and over a yard.
Well, we saw this one coming.
That's right. They did it last time.
Yeah.
Now 4th and a yard and change here. Shivers and Tucker in the backfield, as is Hicks in motion. Tucker tripped up. He came up short. Tracy Robertson dug in and got to Tucker.
That is all up to the official in the spot because that was a good defensive play.
Did they give him the generous mark? Well, looks short of our line, but they will measure. Joe Williams and Tracy Robertson came in and blew it up.
Well, it started right at the point of attack. There was great pressure. Robertson, also Jean-Baptiste made great pressure inside, which helped collapse the pocket. And a great job by Robertson getting so deep into the backfield.
Wow, just by that. Remember, our yellow line is not an official marker. It was well short on the spot of where our 1st and 10 line was. But the chain gang comes on, and Coach Patterson's offense stays on the field. Now that spot of the ball is being reviewed.
I think that's a good timeout call, not just for that, but because it's a good point to regroup defensively for Baylor because you put so much into that.
You tell me, Rod. Where's the knee? Where's the ball?
Well, he's down before our marker, but you made the point about what the marker means. I mean, that was a really good defensive play, but it was all dependent on the spot by the official. And it looks like he spotted just a little bit further than where we saw that.
He spotted the ball inside the 31, but it looks like it should be beyond the 31. Here's the overhead.
That looks more like it's around the 32 or just inside the 32.
Yeah, on the other side of the 31. The point is the ball currently is marked inside the 31. Yeah. That's the difference.
Well, even if they don't get this, I like the challenge. Regroup defensively. Your guys put their heart and soul into this, and you want them to move on. Now you gather them up. You tell them what they need to do to move on. But you don't want them thinking about giving up the first down after a great play when they've got to come back and play another play to keep TCU out of the end zone. So I like the call to challenge this right here.
Meanwhile, if the spot on the field stands for Coach Patterson, his offense on the move, trying to tighten things up here, trailing by 11.
But no need to change anything. You've got 2 timeouts. You've had good game management by your quarterback right now. So if the call stands, I think if you're TCU, you keep doing what you've been doing. You take the little short throws. You run a little bit inside.
Agreed.
You've got plenty of time.
You know, and that really was the game plan coming in for Paul Hall. Hey, we've got a good defense. We're loaded at running back. We've got great receivers. Manage things. Go out and have a nice, easy night to get your starting assignment career off the ground here. But he got thrown into something, didn't he? He got thrown into an old track meet. 34 points on the board for Baylor, and TCU is looking to close that gap.
Welcome back to college football, Tess.
I'll tell you, Rod. You know, on a weekend where you look at those 2 big-time games on Saturday night, of course, Oregon and LSU and Boise and Georgia, but the rest of the schedule, there are people pointing at this game as the next best game. It's lived up to the hype.
I tell you, it's a nice lead into what you're going to see on Saturday. Hey, here's the chain on the other side of the field. That's the point.
Inside the 31.
Where you have to get. Inside the 31. That's that chain they brought it back.
After further video review, it is determined that the runner was down at the 32-yard line, meaning it's shoved. Therefore, it will be Baylor's ball, 1st and 10.
I think they got that right, Rod.
Yep.
So they reverse it. The fans in purple, incredulous. The rest of Floyd Casey erupting in celebration.
If you are
turnover on downs.
If you're a TCU fan, you go, how often do you see that? How often do you see a challenge on a 1st down call and then get it overturned?
Overturned, turnover on downs with under 2 minutes to play in this first half, a thrilling first half. So Griffin III and Ganaway back to business. Ganaway, look at him just go through that front 7 for another 1st down.
You know, you've got your timeouts, all 3, and $1:42, and you've been owning this defense. No reason to settle here if you're Baylor.
Flag comes in as Ganaway takes another shot. Over 100 yards rushing for Terrence Ganaway tonight.
Ganaway, Kendall Wright, Robert Griffin.
Personal foul, chop block. Number 74, offense. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Real point of emphasis in college football.
Safety issue, protecting players, particularly knees, and players who are unprotected. Hits up high around the head. Emphasis on those 2 areas. Safety for players.
Art Briles said we are more confident where we are this year compared to last year. Says Robert Griffin healthy, feel good about the offensive line and the receivers. And he said, I think Ganaway will make some noise. everything on the checklist checked off in this first half. Here's Griffin trying to escape, but he cannot, as he was run down by DJ Yendry, who wasn't going to let go of Robert Griffin III.
TCU is paying a lot of attention to Kendall Wright. He's attracting a couple of guys now. And that was where Griffin looked first.
Second and 24. After that play, and of course, the penalty. They go to Wright on the screen, and look at Wright trying to shake free. He stays in. He's taken down by Takerin Cuba.
You know, once they had the penalty, I think it changed their mindset. They decided no need to try and rush down the field after losing so much yardage on that penalty.
Final seconds of this impressive first half by the Baylor Bears. Oh! Free ball for a moment there. They're going to rule that an incomplete pass, as Jared Salubi just corrals it. Almost a costly, sloppy moment there by the Bears, but everything else was just the way they wanted it to be. Remember, started off with the trick play. They went up 7-zip. TCU rallied and answered, took a 16-14 lead. And then Kendall Wright and RG3 and the rest of the Bears just roared their way to a 34-23 halftime lead. Now, this is the norm for Gary Patterson. Gathering the team before they go into the half, talking about what he saw, what the message will be, getting everybody's attention. Not anything new, not because of the circumstances of being down 11 to an upset-minded Baylor team, but you know that halftime speech is going to have a little bit of fire in it. The Dell halftime report is coming up in moments as Wright and Griff give a little salute. Let's head down to the field to Samantha Steele.
Coach, most first-time starters would start pressing and start trying to force things. How do you assess your QB's play in the first?
Well, Casey's done a good job offensively. Actually, we've run the ball. He needs to slow down. You know, for us, defensively, we've got a new corner in the boundary. We haven't played very well over there. So we're at, if you let them throw it over your head, it's really hard to win ball games, and right now they're doing that. So we got to find ways to get them stopped.
Coach, you're not used to much adversity on this team. How do you prioritize the things you need to change in the second?
Well, we're going to go in. You haven't seen us panic. We're going to go about our business. Again, I always talk about program, not about one ball game. But we came here to win, so we got to find a way to stop them. Some guys are going to have to step up.
All right, good luck in there. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Joe?
Defensive backfield is going to have to step up. Now, let's join Ryan Burr, Mark May, and Lou Holtz back in the studio for the Dell Halftime Report. Gentlemen.
This is Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week.
Antebellum welcomes you back to your Friday night ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Russell Athletic as part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week. Baylor is up 11 on the 14th ranked Horned Frogs. Joe Tessitore alongside Rod Gilmore. 25 straight regular season winning streak for TCU.
Yeah.
But oh boy, are they in a hole. What do they have to do to get out of it?
You know, it sounds strange to say this, but play some defense. And really, Kendall Wright's been killing them, and that's the problem. Because when you play a man-to-man coverage out there, he kills them. And when you double out there, you play zone, they run inside with Ganaway, and Ganaway's got 105 yards rushing. So right now, the key is to find a way to deal with that guy. If they can't do that, they're not going to have much more success in the second half.
Baylor star receiver, 168 yards receiving, a couple of touchdown scores, and he set up another. Aaron Jones to kick off. set to receive. This is Greg McCoy packed up to the goal line. And McCoy goes down to the 25.
You know, Tess, Kendall Wright, star of the first half, did it a number of ways. How about trickeration? He throws a touchdown pass to get things going right off the bat. Comes back, beats Jason Verrett for a man-to-man cover touchdown, and then beats him once again on a little crossing route for a touchdown, and then a big catch, great body control to set up another score. Put a little tippy toe on the sideline to stay in bounds.
Empty backfield for Paul Hall, and now coming around is Tucker. And Tucker tripped up just past the 30. Let's check in with Samantha Steele. Sam?
Yeah, Joe, I got the chance to talk to Art Briles, and I started to say, Coach, you're clicking on all cylinders. He stopped me, and he said, no, we're not. We still need to shore things up on special teams, and we missed our chance there at the end of that second quarter. I said, is there any chance they get complacent? He said, Sam, it was 45-10 last year in his West Texas way, guys.
Fast, fearless, physical was the message he put out. And here they look to be a little more physical against that running game of TCU. And a flag comes down as Trahan came in hard against Wayman James. James got good yardage that time.
I think they got him for a late hit on the sideline.
Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds. Number 15. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
I remember Trahan went after Paul Hall in the first half where there wasn't a flag, and this time he comes in.
Yeah, this time clearly out of bounds. The other one against Paul Hall was really touch and go on the sideline. This one he needed to back off. I mean, that was not close.
Not much running room that time for Tucker. And Jean-Baptiste Dixon able to find him near the line of scrimmage.
TCU wants to make the passing attack easy for Paul Hall. Run it inside and then run the play action, take the shots down the field. They don't want him to have to throw it on 3rd and long, 2nd and long.
Such foreign territory for them. You know, first game without Andy Dalton, and they get themselves in a hole like this with the sophomore Paul Hall. Can he manage this situation? Keeps it himself now to the near side, and then was wrapped up that time. And it's just a minimal gain before Sam Hall came in and found him.
Well, now Baylor is thinking, okay, we'll bring in our speed package. We'll go after you. 3rd and long, we figure you're going to throw it. And they'll get after Paul Hall here and probably not open themselves up to man coverage down the field. They don't want to take those chances. They'll probably play some zone behind it, but they will come after TCU in these situations. TCU 0 for 5 on 3rd down.
Line to make is a 35. Pressure. Complete. Boyce. First down. A lot more. TCU moving it well here down to the 20. Boyce was tackled by Casey.
Nice job by Paul Hall. He did not lose his composure. He saw the blitz coming and dropped it to his outlet receiver out there, Boyce. And Boyce just made a guy miss. He just made Casey miss. But that was well done by the young quarterback.
Remember, Boyce had one of those big catches in the Rose Bowl last year to set up TCU's go-ahead score, a 44-yarder against Wisconsin. They could use some of those clutch plays here in this second half. Paul Hall swings it to Logan Brock. Brock gets it down just inside the 15.
You know when they talk about a quarterback managing the game?
Yep.
This is what it looks like. I mean, you got a guy who's not taking wild chances down the field. He had 2 options on that play. He had a tight end going deep, had a tight end going short. He went short. He took the sure thing. Earlier, we saw him be patient and not rush himself in the blitz. Took his time, found his outlet receiver, didn't try to go deep. He's managing.
You know, the coaches told us that they feel he's ahead of where Andy Dalton was as a redshirt freshman. Motion goes nowhere as he kept it, and Terrence Lloyd was able to secure him.
The problem with that is most people don't remember Andy Dalton as a redshirt freshman.
Right.
You remember him last year winning a Rose Bowl.
Exactly. And going on to be a second-round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. Dalton's first start at TCU also came against Baylor. That was a 27-zip shutout win back in 07.
Well, right now, Paul Hall is caught up in a shootout because his defense has not been able to slow down Baylor.
3rd and 5. Paul Hall, time, catch, first down, inside the 5, Sky Dawson. And there is a flag down at the 17.
Personal foul, shot block, number 32 Austin, 15-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That'll cost him.
Well, we talked about it earlier. Safety, that's the second call this week. Wayman James, watch him, you'll see Mason coming in, and he goes down on him after Mason was just engaged a little bit by Tucker. It's a safety issue. They want you to stand up and block.
What a swing, Rod, considering that the completion would have had them at a 1st and goal, and now the ball is backed up outside the 30. A 3rd down and 20. Paul Hall just looking to dance his way to the middle. And he took a big hit that time by Mike Hicks. So Ross Evans trots on. Just beyond the 30-yard line. So a 41-yard attempt. He missed from 41 earlier. Did make from 44. And this time he misses to the right. Missed from 41 to the left. Now he misses from 41 to the right. Evans 1 for 3 on the night. So they don't get anything out of that drive. The Baylor defense doing their part. Phil Bennett cheers them on. Casey Paul Hall with regrets. Just beyond that scoreboard that reads Baylor 34-23 over TCU is the DirecTV Drive to the National Championship bus. My man TJ drives that bus around, and he's going to be heading up from here in Waco to Arlington to the Cowboys Classic for Oregon and LSU tomorrow night on ABC. Of course, you start your day with Game Day. Game will get things started from Cowboys Stadium at 9 a.m. on the U, and then switch over to ESPN at 10 o'clock. Should be a big day of college football tomorrow.
You know, the fellows from Game Day will have a nice little recap about tonight and their thoughts on TCU and their defense and what this might mean for them for the rest of the season.
By the way, Chip Kelly live on the set at Game Day up there in Lot 3 at Cowboys Stadium tomorrow. Here goes RG3. Trying to escape the rush, and he does successfully, getting it out to Terrence Williams for a first down.
When you hear that Griffin is a great athlete, you assume he wants to get out of the pocket. He stays with the play. And he was in no hurry to break the pocket and take off running. He wanted to throw the football.
You watch this version of Robert Griffin III tonight, and you would not describe him as a running quarterback.
No.
He's a mature, fully evolved quarterback who just happens to have world-class speed. A fresh set of downs for the Bears, looking to pull off a big upset, a signature win here in Week 1. High expectations for this team. Going downfield again. Could it be? Oh, my! Lanier Sampson! Unbelievable! RG3 does it again! third missed extra point of our game tonight. But the story is Robert Griffin III, his 13th straight completion. This one, a 64-yard, perfectly placed touchdown pass to Sampson.
Well, he wants to throw the ball, and there's nothing fancy about what's happening on the outside. The wide receivers for Baylor are simply beating the man coverage from TCU. It doesn't matter if it's a veteran corner, McCoy, number 7, who's been out there for a couple years, or on the other side where they have inexperienced guys. They've been killing those corners in man-to-man coverage. Griffin has had a world-class night.
A year ago, this game was a complete blowout. TCU demolished Baylor. Look at his numbers a year ago. Look at his numbers with still 8:49 to go in the third.
Yeah, the 4 touchdowns, the 281 yards passing, 15 of 18 as a completion percentage tonight. I mean, he's been fantastic. They've had the triple-headed monster going with the receivers and the running backs also jumping in there.
And then Lanier Sampson, probably the fastest receiver on the team. He's got that straight line speed, and he showed it off there. Sky Dawson now on the return, and he slips down there to 13, 14-yard line. The Chick-fil-A kickoff game, part of Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week on ESPN and ESPN3, Saturday at 8 Eastern. Also streaming live on WatchESPN.com. You got number 5, Boise State, number 19, Georgia. Will the Broncos be a BCS buster this year? TCU, of course, they did it a year ago. They won the Rose Bowl. Can Kellen Moore do it now without his star receivers? They're off to the pros.
Well, and keep in mind, announced today, 3 additional players ineligible for the game. Boise State holding them out.
See how dominant Boise and TCU have been in recent years, but they will be tested tomorrow against the Dogs. Raymond James, just a gain of 2 that time as he was taken down by Gary Mason Jr. and Ahmad Dixon.
This is a critical drive for TCU. They cannot go 3 and out here.
Rod, we just had a 13-point swing.
Yeah,
they would have been first and goal to 5 if it wasn't for the penalty on the cut block. Instead, RG3 gets it and goes downfield, and we've got a 17-point spread.
And you saw the frustration by Paul Hall after that. And now he's back out there. They need a drive now.
Ball was deflected at the line of scrimmage by Jean-Baptiste. He had a blocked extra point earlier.
Now, Tess, this is where it gets rough. You got a 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. A predictable passing situation. We've seen Bennett come after TCU in this situation. If they force TCU off the field, Baylor will get the ball back around midfield. That's not good for TCU. They have to pick up this 3rd down here.
Look at how they struggle tonight. 1 of 7. Incomplete. Hicks could not corral that ball.
Gotta have help. Hicks is a veteran player. That is his 3rd-year receiver who didn't come up with it, and Paul Hall limps off.
Boy, that's not a steady stride. You can see him reaching down for that left calf as Paul Hall comes out and the punt team goes on. Levi Norwood to return the big 280-pound Anson Pelton from the 3 to punt for TCU. Norwood from the 45. And he shakes loose. Look at Levi Norwood crossing midfield and battling for extra yardage. The son of their assistant coach, Brian Norwood. What is a team to do? Casey Paul Hall dealing with the injury on the sideline, team trailing by 17. coming off the Rose Bowl glory of a year ago. Let's take a look.
Well, it wasn't because
that leg, Rob.
Yeah, he didn't get hit. It looks like he's just cramping up there, or maybe strained something. But he reacted much more like a cramp than anything. And there is the redshirt freshman backup quarterback, Matt Brown.
Meanwhile, back to business is Kendall Wright. Tank Carter came in and just laid one on him.
TCU needs to stop. They can't win the game here, but they can lose it if they don't stop Baylor here.
Good point. Patterson knows the way Robert Griffin III's been playing. He could push this thing right off the cliff.
And if you're TCU, you are deathly afraid of having single coverage anywhere because you haven't covered them in man-to-man coverage.
Here's Griffin being pulled down by DJ Yendry. Samantha, what do you have for us?
Yeah, you guys saw Casey Pahal come off the field. That left leg cramp in his calf, they're working on it right now. And it's kind of funny. We talked to them before the game. Coach Patterson said he wasn't that concerned about this because they've been practicing in the heat, unlike Baylor. Well, right after Pahal came off the field with the cramp, Josh Boyce ran into the locker room with what looks like the same thing. So it's an issue over here, guys.
They practice in extreme heat. They have an indoor facility, but they're not air conditioned. They got the doors open out there in Fort Worth, and they let the heat come on in. But it is a hot day and a long night here in Waco with a lot of back and forth action. 3rd and 6 for RG3. He's going for it again, and he's got it again. Terrence Williams. What a night for Griffin. Touchdown passes for Robert Griffin III. Baylor all over the Frogs.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And Taco Bell. Think outside the bun.
That is the beautiful campus here in Waco at Baylor. It's quiet now. A couple miles down the road here at Floyd Casey Stadium, they're ready to start celebrating if things can hold up this way. TCU's win streaks, longest in terms of regular season, 25, in terms of road games in the country at 11. All of that greatly threatened now because of RG3, Robert Griffin III, his 5 touchdown passes. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines. Oregon, LSU, number 3, number 4. The Cowboys Classic, part of Dick's Sporting Goods. Kickoff week, Saturday at 8 on ABC. Of course, you can get your day started with College Game Day from Lot 3 at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas, bright and early.
Oregon has its highest preseason rank in school history. And LSU, 5th time in 7 seasons they've been ranked in the top 10 coming in. That's a good matchup. We're going to have a great day tomorrow watching all that stuff, getting ready for our game on Sunday.
Jared Lee, of course, now the quarterback for LSU. And then we'll be flying up to Morgantown, West Virginia to see a guy who is used to scoring 47 points in a game as Dana Holgerson takes over that Mountaineers team and looks to get that offense going against Marshall on Sunday.
We see that Casey Pahal is back on the field, but let me tell you this from experience. Once you start cramping, it doesn't go away.
It's too late.
It's too late. Right? Once it starts,
hydration,
it keeps going.
The stretching. Tucker on the carry. driving ahead. It'll make for a third and about 3 and change. Casey Paul Hall taking over for Andy Dalton. See his numbers on the night. 110 yards and a touchdown. He went up against something special tonight in Robert Griffin III. This Baylor team came in so focused to avenge what happened a year ago when they lost by 35. Here's the pitch to James, and he picks up the yards to make, and he breaks free. Wayman James cuts to the inside. And a big gainer for TCU. Mike Hicks was able to cut him down at the end. The purple-clad faithful holding on to a little bit of hope with a 38-yard run here.
Well, just a little zone play, then a pitch off of it. A good double block to the outside. Open it up and a missed tackle by Lloyd. And James, just with a nice job cutting back out there, almost broke that.
Terrence Lloyd, who tried to get to James, sitting there down on the field as the train staff for Baylor tends to him. 38-yard gain by Wayman James. Baylor up 47-23. We'll be back in a moment. Joe Tessitore, Ron Gilmore, Samantha Steele here in Waco. ESPN College Football Primetime presented by Russell Athletic, part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week. Baylor is looking for a signature win, an upset to start off this college football season. Can TCU rally back? Paul Hall comes back the other way to Logan Brock, and Brock has a first down.
I like the way they're managing it, but I'd like to see TCU pick up the pace a little bit. A lot of ground to make up and not a lot of time.
Yeah, they're going to be forced to.
And keep in mind, they've gone 1 for 3 on field goals. I wouldn't even think about kicking anymore. Not tonight.
First down at the 29. Desperate for a quick 7. Pitch to Tucker. And Tucker is met right away. It was Chris McAllister who came in, as did Sam Hall.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that they panic, but the deliberate pace at which TCU is operating right now is not good enough to get it done. I mean, you want a touchdown out of this, so you got to make sure that happens, but I'd like to see them move it, get the score, and get a stop before the end of the quarter to have something going into the fourth quarter.
You want it to be manageable.
Exactly.
Heading into the fourth. 2nd and 8. Some pressure right up the middle. And Paul Hall just releases it inside the 20 to Jonathan Jones. The pressure came by Bryce Hager.
Yeah, they're trying to protect Paul Hall so much that now you put him in situations where they know they can dial up the blitz. And Hager comes straight through, untouched, with a straight-on shot. And now you've got another predictable situation here. A 3rd and 5. And not a lot of territory behind you, so you ought to feel pretty comfortable bringing pressure again.
Tucker and James in the backfield, 3rd and 5. Threw it behind the intended receiver, but a good job by Josh Boyce to wrestle it, and it'll depend on the spot. Looks like it's very close to that marker as Casey and Boyce wrestled for the ball down on the field.
That ball was almost picked off because, as you pointed out, it was thrown behind Boyce, and Casey almost got in there. But if you pick up this first down here now, which it looks like they have, still, you want to come right back and get the touchdown sooner rather than later.
So first down for the Horned Frogs. Boyce, who was a freshman All-American a year ago. Key player and somebody that Paul Hall can really lean on this year as a playmaker. So the current drive as that clock ticks towards 4 minutes.
They like to throw out of this formation.
Instead, they go with the inside handoff to Andre Dean, who's another one of those Pac-12 transfers, came in from UCLA.
Another one of those guys that left the state of Texas. He's from Katy, Texas, went to Westwood, and then came back after not enjoying his time in sunny California.
You can always come home, Ryan.
So it would seem.
2nd and 6 now. And Tucker leaps up and over, but will be about a yard short of that line to make. As Gary Mason Jr. was able to get to him. Pressure time is a coming for Coach Patterson. That play clock is winding down, and they're going to have to burn a timeout.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Slow to get up to the line.
I don't get it.
Paul Hall looked up. He saw a 3, a 2, and a 1.
Way too deliberate the last 3-4 minutes. And you see the end result of that. Burning a timeout that they could probably use in the fourth quarter. They burn it because they just aren't moving quickly enough.
Well, Gary Patterson is one of the best coaches over the last 10 years in this sport, and the hotshot coach of a year ago is going to be on College Game Day on the set live tomorrow with the crew. Chip Kelly, as they will get you set for the Cowboys Classic, Oregon and LSU. Urban Meyer's going to have his spotlight on Aaron Murray. But get your day started with ESPN's College Game Day built by the Home Depot, and Tom Rinaldi will have a feature piece on Alabama's Carson Tinker and the tragedy that happened this past spring down in Tuscaloosa. It is the season debut of College Game Day built by the Home Depot. They need a yard. Paul Hall to pass. Out of the backfield is Shivers. Ball came loose and is spotted down. You saw the official throw the beanbag down. It'll be good for the first down. As Chance Casey pounced on that. Watch Shivers trying to work his way in. Only that shoulder got in.
The ball didn't cross the plane.
Inside handoff goes absolutely nowhere that time.
Could you take longer to pick up 7?
By the way, Luke Shivers, the reason they give him to him that spot, 9 touchdowns now in 19 total touches.
I know, but I mean, how many plays have they run down here in Baylor territory?
Exactly, as this clock is now under 40 seconds. Here's Boyce now. They hand it off to their star receiver that time, and Terrence Lloyd comes colliding in.
You get the impression that TCU fans are tearing their hair out.
Well, you go undefeated, you win a Rose Bowl, you're not in spots like this often.
Well, we talked about the difference with an Andy Dalton. All those years, all that trust. You know, Dalton would have had them in the end zone by now. That's no slight on Paul. It's just the fact that he's not as experienced, and they're taking their time and protecting him, and they get no points out of this drive before the end of the third quarter.
A nation's best 25-game regular season win streak, and they're trailing 47-23. The fourth quarter when we return. Time TCU and Baylor played, it was a scoreless tie in 1899. They put 70 on the board through 3. Third and goal coming up short. Antoine Hicks So 2 times now down here at the goal line, receivers carrying the ball for the Frogs.
They've gone to everything but their traditional option, read option, quarterback speed option. They haven't used that down here.
Here comes your 4th and goal.
Yeah.
TCU desperate. 14th play of the drive. Paul Hall, touchdown. Connects with Logan Brock. Flag came in. Touchdown looks like it'll stand. A 14-play drive.
Offside, defense, number 11. Penalties declined, touchdown.
TCU would like to close this to be a 2-possession game. They want to go for the 2 here, make it 47-31, keep it at 16. They got the chance at 16 as a 2-possession game.
You know our rule. We like it in the 4th quarter. You can go for 2. Don't like it before that.
Paul Hall. Can he get in? Dives forward. And the conversion is scored, and then he grabs once again the lower extremity. Cramped up earlier, and look at him in pain here as he extended himself.
Yeah, once they happen, they just keep coming back, and they feel bad.
Still hope for the 14th ranked Horned Frogs. Trailing by 16 now. Thanks, Ryan. As they work on Casey Paul Hall. Just tightened up this game. 47-31, the upset-seeking Baylor Bears. Baylor, Ross Evans to pick. Jones from the 1. And he is met at the 21. Let's take a look at some great teamwork brought to you by Russell Athletic.
Well, it's been the threesome. Griffin the 3rd, Ganaway, Wright, big numbers. Griffin 327 yards passing, 5 TDs. Ganaway a power inside, 105 yards. That opened up everything on the outside where Wright just went nuts with a couple of touchdown catches, threw for a touchdown, and already has 10 grabs on the day.
And this is against a TCU defense. A TCU defense that still includes Tank Carter and Tanner Brock. A team that has led the nation in defense in 5 of the last 11 years, but RG3 is just lighting it up tonight. Ganaway, their power running back, gain of about 2.5. The TCU defense, look at these numbers. They've been so dominant that the numbers that Baylor's offense has put up tonight, the most since 04, 05, 1990 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
They haven't given up 6 touchdown passes since 1990.
Well, they've had more picks than touchdown passes allowed over the last 5 years with like a plus 23.
2nd and 8 now. Going to get a heavy dose of Ganaway. Just able to get about a yard that time.
Well, and because Baylor wants to bleed the clock, it helps TCU. What's hurt TCU has been their cornerback play.
That's right.
And they've given up the big play on the outside when they've tried to play man coverage all night long. You know,
Griffin the 3rd going to Kendall Wright and Terrence Williams all night long. Now they want to milk clock.
Yeah.
3rd and 7. Let's see if he takes a strike this time.
Remember, Tess, they lost 6 starters, including 2 corners, off that TCU defense from last season.
Here's Griff. Has time. Now he's going to use the legs, then quickly tries to get it out of there. Terrence Ganaway couldn't hold on, and Griffin a little slow to get up. So the TCU defense does their job that time.
Yeah, Griffin's so determined to throw the ball and not just be a running quarterback that even at the last second, when he probably should have kept it here, he decides to throw it and wasn't prepared for the hit that he got.
That ended the streak of 15 straight completions. Spencer Roth, freshman punter, as he boots it away to Sky Dawson. A sky-high punt, and here is Dawson. Picks up a block on the edge, and here goes Dawson. Flag comes in late as the freshman Spencer Roth comes up to meet him.
Well, there was a block in the back, way back near where Sky Dawson turned the corner, and it didn't get flagged right away, and the crowd reacted. Yeah, but it was an official down the field that threw it.
Gary Patterson measuring the situation, wants to see what the officials will come up with here if it's coming back this return. Greg Burks was the player on TCU who set that block.
I think he got Sampson, Lanier Sampson, in the back. He never got his head in front or even on the side. And as an official, the official looks to see where does the player fall. If he falls to the side, it's a clean block. If he falls on his face, then he was blocked in the back.
They have so much to try to look at, and then you add that in to the equation. Patterson gets the explanation, and Art Briles is hoping that this lead maintains itself.
Now they seem to have some confusion about it.
There are multiple fouls on the play. Too many people in the backfield by the kicking team, number 7. Illegal block in the back on the receiving team. No number. And illegal block, number 22. Penalty is going to offset. Replay 4th down.
Well, thank goodness you are a practicing attorney, Rod, in the Bay Area.
But, you know, we don't have
book anywhere.
We don't have offsetting penalties in the legal profession.
No, not much offsets.
No.
There, does it?
There's just liability.
So they will replay 4th down as Dawson heads back out there, and Spencer Roth, who put a big hit on Sky Dawson. I mean, Roth goes 6'4", 230. We have the biggest punters you've ever seen in a game tonight. 6'4", 230 for Roth, and then TCU's Kelton is 6'4", 280. Dawson now trying to gain some speed, and he does. And a good return. Mike Hicks got to him, but TCU is in good field position. Remember, you see Dawson wiping his brow. They got that another late flag came in.
Well, they set this up for a return on the right side. You'll see some of the TCU defenders peel back to help. They get the wall set up. Dawson gets the outside to the wall.
Baylor, half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
They are just serving it right up to TCU now. 12-14 to go, and TCU's going to be knocking on the door. Remember, the 2-point conversion makes it a 2-possession game. They're very much in play here. Watch this late hit.
Oh, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Oh,
that's absolutely
Isaac
ridiculous.
Williams, special teamer, backup running back, and goes helmet to helmet, flying in like that. Such a dangerous play.
Well, and just stupid. It's a stupid play. You got a defenseless guy lying down. Your team is already in trouble with TCU with a good return, and you just take a cheap shot in the open?
It's a big opportunity for the Frogs here. Paul Hall, plenty of time to the end zone, just past the outstretched arms of Antoine Hicks.
But I like the fact that they are taking a chance with Paul Hall. We saw that last drive where they ran it play after play until after the 14th play, they let him throw it. I like the fact they're letting him take a shot early. They're showing a little bit more confidence in him to get them back in the ballgame.
Andre Dean now in the backfield with the sophomore first-time starter Paul Hall. Inside handoff goes to Dean. Flag comes in, a minimal gain as Sean Baptiste was able to wrap him up with Ahmad Dixon.
2 flags.
It's become a choppy game the past few minutes, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Holding. Offense. Number 77. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
One of their key offensive line reserves who gets a good amount of playing time rotating in.
Well, you know, you expect to see penalties early in the season. You expect to see some sloppy special teams play. That's just because of timing. You know, you haven't gone full speed enough. Certainly not against an opponent.
So it backs them up to a 2nd down and 20. Now they want 7. Paul Hall, look at the time he has. Gets it complete. Sky Dawson, shake and bake. Loses his helmet and is down at the 10-yard line. Elliot Coffey was the last to get a hand on Sky Dawson. Star sprinter on the track team, as we showed you earlier.
Tough guy. He bounced right up after that late hit he took just a couple plays ago. He's not a big guy, only 170, 175 pounds. But man, can he fly, and can he change direction.
So a 3rd down just inside the 10.
They have to leave the ball in Paul Hall's hands.
The new D-court, Phil Bennett. What will he come up with here? Only brings 4 to the end zone. Boys, touchdown, Frogs! They are just a 2-point conversion away of making this a 1-possession game, and yet another late flag.
And Paul Hall is limping again. He's cramping up.
As Paul Hall tries to stretch that right leg, and referee Randy Crystal tries to straighten things out.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Number 49. It'll be a 15-yard penalty enforced on the ensuing kickoff.
What is going on with Baylor all of a sudden?
Well, they don't know how to close out games. You know, Baylor had a big lead heading into the 4th quarter, and they did nothing on their last possession offensively, and they've just had penalty after penalty to help out TCU.
This is a critical 2-point conversion here. Trying to make it a 1-possession game.
We're going to move TCU back.
Ball start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
You know, Tess, Paul Hall has choices here. Boyce has been playing well. Sky Dawson has been playing well. If they're on opposite sides of the field, he's got 2 really good choices down here. Likely to see man coverage. That's what they're showing right now.
Here's Casey Boyce. We got ourselves a 1-possession game. What a comeback by TCU here in the 4th quarter. Young Mr. Paul Hall growing up, and the super soft hauling it in. Don't go anywhere. What a thriller. Did you forget what college football is like? Welcome back to the thrills and chills. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, Samantha Steele here in Waco, where number 14, the defending Rose Bowl champs, have rallied back. They trailed 47-23 at the start of the fourth, and now the coach of the year, Gary Patterson, is looking to bring it all the way back. 16 points scored in the last 3 minutes and 18 seconds. And the crowd in purple is up and rallying again. Strong booted touchback. Of course, number 5, Boise State, much like TCU, always considered among the elites of the BCS Busters from the non-AQs, and they get their chance to start the season the right way tomorrow against 19th ranked Georgia and their great quarterback Aaron Murray. The Chick-fil-A kickoff game, part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week on ESPN and ESPN3 Saturday at 8 Eastern.
How good is it to have college football back?
Born again, my friend, born again. And now RG3 back to work. Ganaway, he's had a big night, but this time finds it tough in the middle with Chris Gardner and Tank Carter.
Well, the quarterback play has been really spectacular lately. Griffin all night long. Paul Hall's come on recently, 8 touchdown passes between the two of them. And I think Griffin's going to have to dial up the passing game again. He's got to find the single coverage. That's what they've been able to do, but they've kind of tucked it in lately by trying to run the football.
Yeah, they got off the accelerator and started to worry about the clock. Now here's Griff, and he gets it complete to Kendall Wright. Let's see where they spot this ball. They'll make for a third and about 3 as Braylon Groton had pressure on RG3.
You know, when the fourth quarter began and Baylor had the football, they started thinking, let's pick up a few first downs, run the clock, and kind of salt the game away.
Look at you.
Boyce had other ideas.
Had the touchdown and the 2-point conversion to close this gap. And now the defense needs to come up big. Art Briles wants to see his team just stay composed here.
False start. Offense. Number 71. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
But instead a bit of unraveling. Ranked opponents. It's been a long time, Rod. You got to go back to 2004 against the Aggies when Baylor has pulled off a win like this. They got number 14 on their home turf. They had a 47-23 lead.
Yeah,
now the pressure mounts.
They have 10 penalties for 102 yards, and that's opened the door for TCU.
3rd and 7. Empty backfield for Griffin. Nowhere to go for Terrence Williams, and the Frogs are just stoked up defensively. Kevin White came up and made the tackle.
Since the touchdown pass to Lanier Sampson, the TCU defense has really been tough. They've shut down the first down play, the first down running play, and forced Baylor into 3rd and long, and they've gotten off the field both times.
And watch out for that guy, Sky Dawson. 60-meter champ in the Mountain West. He flat out flies. Roth's punt goes out just beyond midfield. TCU is going to have the ball trailing by 8 with over 8 minutes to play, thanks to the strong defensive efforts of Kevin White.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Russell Athletic, who remind you that together we are. And in part by E-Trade, Investing Unleashed.
With Rod Gilmore and Samantha Steele, I'm Joe Tessitore, and I welcome you back to Waco. Baylor trying to hold on. TCU coming on strong here. The Rose Bowl champs from a year ago looking for a big rally with the ball at midfield. Paul Hall. He's going downfield. Flag comes in as he overthrows Antoine Hicks.
Yeah, well, Hicks held Hicks. They should probably get Hicks for holding Antoine Hicks.
Mike Hicks and Antoine Hicks.
Well, you know what? It's actually a smart play because had he not grabbed Antoine Hicks, he was gone. He was buying. So 17 Mike Hicks grabbed 13 Antoine Hicks to keep him from getting away.
Pass interference, defense, number 17. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Now watch him right here. He is beaten. Oh, he is so beaten
badly.
So beaten. He had no choice but to grab. And just hope that he didn't get caught.
Boy, Casey Paul Hall is finding some confidence in this fourth quarter, isn't he?
Well, that's the thing. We're trying to get them to let him throw it more, trust him a little bit more because he started to grow as the game went on.
And remember, he's dealing with those cramps. Rockets this one to Boyce. Samantha.
Guys, there have been cramping issues on both sides of the field today, but especially for Casey Paul Hall. Every time he comes off the field, they're now working on his left and right calf. Also, his left tackle, Jeff Olson, is having the same issues. I noticed when Casey was out there, he has a tattoo on his left arm that says sacrifice. Guys, with a banged up right shoulder, a banged up left elbow, and 2 cramping legs, he's doing just that right now.
He is, Sam. Yeah, he's all tatted up. He's got the long hair. This isn't Andy Dalton out there. A new breed of quarterback for the Frogs. And here, Brandon Carter is fighting for the first down yardage, but Paul Hall has really found his groove.
I'll tell you this. He may not be Andy Dalton because he wears tats and the long hair, but he's got Andy Dalton's heart. I mean, the way he's playing out there now with everything that he's dealing with that Samantha pointed out, yeah, he's playing.
He's maturing in front of our eyes in one game, a long night. This thing's been epic. All the twists and turns, a roller coaster ride of an evening. The ebb and flow, and now TCU looking to close late. First down for the Frogs, empty backfield. Paul Hall swings it out to the back. Wayman James. Gary Patterson, of course, one of the best coaches in college football, but not many spots like this through the years of overcoming a large deficit. His team was down 47-23. Back against BYU in 05, they overcame 18 points. Tonight, trying to overcome 24 points.
You know, Tess, they are still trying to cover boys one-on-one. And if Paul Hall picks it up, they've got another 6.
Play action, pressure, touchdown! Oh my, the Frogs are a 2-point conversion away! David Porter, the freshman receiver who fittingly wears Andy Dalton's old jersey number. This to tie the game. And Baylor and Art Briles are going to talk things over as these fans are in complete disbelief.
Well, they're trying to play man coverage, and they're trying to keep a safety back to help the most dangerous guy, and it's not working. You'll see safeties in the middle, but they go flying out to help what they think is the most dangerous guy inside. Paul Hall finds the freshman receiver Porter as he beats his man. Paul Hall knows it's another. They have had their choice of guys down the field, and Patterson, he knows it. He just needs his defense to find a way to come up with one more stop.
You forget what happened earlier in this game when you see a rally like this. You forget how dominant Robert Griffin III and Kendall Wright were. Now the Baylor defense.
Boyce still on the bottom in single coverage.
Trying to keep him out with this two-point conversion. Pressure up the middle. Paul Hall to the end zone. Incomplete. As Boyce is cramping up as well, but still 7:11 to play.
I'll tell you right now, Baylor has to score. They're not going to stop TCU. They have no chance of playing any better coverage back there. They're getting beat like a drum now the way TCU's secondary was beaten in the first half. Boyce locked up in single coverage again, was open, just couldn't pull this one in. And cramped up right after he dropped that one. That's a catch he normally makes.
22 points scored by TCU in the last 7 minutes and 12 seconds. Gary Patterson has accomplished so much in his 11 years as head coach. This is not the norm. This is not how he writes his scripts. To have an all-drama, back-and-forth game like this, needing a fourth-quarter comeback.
And if you're thinking ahead, thinking forward for Baylor, you can't come out running the football. You've had no success at it. You can't think about bleeding away the time. You've got to go back to Griffin and let him throw the ball.
They got away from it, and it's cost them. Here's Jared Salubi. And Salubi to the 25. Let's check in with Ryan.
All right, Joe, just a reminder over on ESPN2, it is USA Soccer, an international friendly as the U.S. men's team takes on Costa Rica. Once again, USA versus Costa Rica, international friendly on ESPN2. But then again, why would you ever turn off TCU Baylor, guys?
Ryan agreed.
You know, Tess, what, 92 points tonight? Not a single turnover.
It has been so wildly entertaining. Plenty of cramps, no turnovers. Griffin now, here goes RG3. Ball comes loose. TCU trying to corral it. And they got it. The Frogs have it. Stanley Mapanga has secured it. Baylor is falling apart. Mapanga stripped it, and he recovered it.
That is the first time tonight that Griffin took off to try to make something happen when he didn't really have it there. He had avoided running all night, did not see the pressure coming from the backside by Mapanga, and then it was a free-for-all. And now TCU is set up deep in Baylor territory.
Rod Gilmore, did you just say before that play, no turnovers tonight?
Yep.
Couldn't have come at a bigger moment for the Frogs. Paul Hall right back out there. And going to the air. And the diving effort by Sky Dawson goes incomplete. A tale of two halves for Griff. And another cramp. Listen, it was 100 degrees here. It's been a long night of all-action football with loads of scoring.
Keep in mind, these guys have been working out in 100-degree weather for about 28 of the 31 days in the month of August.
Coach Patterson takes every precaution with the hydration and the extra trainers and the mandatory ice baths. But you get in a game like this, in weather like this, and the level of intensity that we're seeing on the field today, and it's a war of attrition. 2nd and 10. That is complete, and Jones stays on his feet for a first down. Jonathan Jones, the senior, his dad was a former defensive back at TCU.
What an effort by Paul Hall. He's definitely feeling it. A lot of confidence, despite the fact that he's got cramps in both of his legs. Still trying to wing it out there. He can't run as well as he started running the ball game.
And they turn that turnover, that fumble recovery into some instant offense. Fresh set of downs for Paul Hall. They only bring 4. He goes deep. Incomplete. That flag came in. Jercel Fort tried to reposition himself. We will see what the call is as Trahan had coverage, the converted quarterback.
Well, he threw the hat to show that the receiver was out of bounds, and I think he flagged him for the defender not allowing him back in when the ball was in the air for pass interference.
Art Briles and Phil Bennett.
Number 22 went out of bounds, was first to touch the ball. It's a loss of down, second down.
So it goes as a loss of down as Bennett, the defensive coordinator, and Briles, the head coach, just hoping to hang on here.
Yeah, he goes out of bounds there, but he comes back in.
To touch the ball.
They threw the hat. That's the signal that the receiver went out of bounds voluntarily.
So it backs him up. And here is Tucker. Oh, what a nice play by Matthew Tucker, who forges ahead inside the 15.
That defense is winded for Baylor. You could watch them in the pursuit. They had no pursuit. Guys couldn't come from the backside. Guys couldn't chase it down. They are winded, and TCU understands it and is taking advantage of it.
You see RG3 is trying to show some support, but it's been a long night and a difficult fourth quarter to digest. TCU trailing by 2, looking to take the lead here. Tucker. Not much room there, just 1.5 yards as Trahan was able to get to his legs.
Big down here. Play selection. A lot more confidence in Paul Hall. If you run it here and you get nothing, now you're putting yourself in a very predictable and tough 3rd and long. Do they trust Paul Hall to throw it here? I would. He's been hot.
And they do. And he does. And it's complete to Boyce to the 10-yard line as he was pushed out by Chance Casey. So it'll be a 3rd down and just over 5. Ross Evans, the place kicker for TCU, 1 of 3 tonight. Missed a couple of 41-yarders. A 3rd and 6 now for Paul Hall.
How does Baylor play it defensively? They've been killed with single coverage down here. This might be the time that they actually go away from that and play some zone down there and try and force the ball to be thrown quickly and react to it.
James in the backfield, 3rd and 6. Plenty of time. He threw it behind the running back. So it will bring up a 4th down. And they have the senior kicker, Ross Evans.
Tess, they changed up. They went zone coverage down there and didn't let anybody get behind them in the end zone. And they forced Paul Hall to throw the ball short and misfired there. Now you've got the kicking situation. This is going to be about a 27-yarder.
He was good from 44. He missed 2 from 41 to take the lead. TCU has come all the way back. They started the fourth quarter trailing 47-23. Evans from 27. Money. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, and Samantha Steele here in Waco. Hey, TJ, in the DirecTV Drive to the National Championship bus. Don't go anywhere. Where are you going? We got a 48-47 game.
Come on, bring it back. Don't you know how we do it on Friday night? This is typical.
He is heading to Dallas to see the big one tomorrow night just up the road from us. And if it's anything like this, hold on, buckle in. Paul Hall still dealing with the cramps, but what a heroic effort here in this fourth quarter. TCU rallying all the way back, 25 unanswered points by number 14. Let's take a look forward for TCU, brought to you by Sprint. Last year in the Mountain West, next year they go to the Big East. They got the renovated stadium up there in Fort Worth, and they've got a great slate of home games.
Well, they get Oklahoma showing up in their new stadium next season. That ought to be something. West Virginia will also visit them. Pretty impressive. With all the issues going on with the Big 12 and who knows what other conferences might be affected, pretty wild time for both these teams on the field. TCU moving to the Big East and Baylor wondering what's going to happen with the Big 12.
In a strange way, now that they're trailing by one, is this the best thing that could happen to the Baylor offense?
Yeah.
Because they just came off the gas pedal when they had the lead and didn't do a thing. Now here's RG3, Robert Griffin III, and that ball was deflected away as he was trying to get it to Kendall Wright. Sam Carter came in.
And Griffin took a shot. Looked like he got it by Maponga and got him after he released the ball. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was Stanley Maponga.
Yeah, he didn't see it coming.
Caused the fumble and recovered the fumble. That put TCU in position to take the lead moments ago with the field goal.
TCU defensively, less man coverage.
Pressure off the edge, and Robert Griffin's pass went into the field.
You know, he's taking a couple shots. And that'll make you short on the ball every now and then. But he's taken a couple of big hits in the fourth quarter. And now TCU defensively has been laying back, not playing the man coverage, taking away the deep ball, and forcing Baylor to try and work their way down the field.
3rd and 10, trick play again. They did it earlier, and this time it works. Going back to the quarterback. Robert Griffin to Kendall Wright. Back to Robert Griffin.
He's taking shots, though. That was another big hit. I mean, watch the way Griffin gets hit at the end of this. Wright gets it back to him, but look at this. He's splitting two guys and takes a big hit from the linebacker, Gardner.
So a first down for Baylor at the 35.
They've got both their timeouts. They have plenty of time. They're not getting the single coverage that they were exploiting all game long.
To Wright again. And Wright with a quick burst of speed just past that line to make. He is so dangerous. Had himself such a huge first half.
Yeah, he's coming off. He hurt his hand or his wrist on that last play. But this is the adjustment. When you get the zone coverage, they go to their screen game. When you take away their screen game and play man, they go deep on you.
That's where they've been dangerous tonight. And this guy's always dangerous. As Griffin gets it across the 50.
Did you see him running with that football? It was not high and tight.
No, it was not.
Not high and tight. It was loose and away from the body. And he fumbled earlier, but now you want him to have that football close, high and tight, not carrying it loose.
Evan White tracked him down, trying to get themselves into field goal range. There's Ganaway, and he's got the first down. So now the Bears finding a little bit of offense here.
And what they're doing again is they are trying to take advantage of the fact that TCU is saying, we'll let you run, but we're not going to let you throw it down the field. And they're trying to invite TCU to get frustrated and come back with the extra man in the box so they can throw down the field.
Griff takes a shot. He's got it complete. And they are in field goal range as Terrence Williams has it. 2 minutes and 41 seconds to play.
I got to tell you, though, I don't think a field goal wins this one.
No, it's been sevens all night. That have been the call. Now they get aggressive, speeding up to the line. Ganaway, a minimal gain that time. By the way, Aaron Jones, their kicker, does have a career long of 50.
Well, right now, they're at the 29. They'd be kicking a 46 yard. 24. They'd be kicking a 41-yarder from here.
So well within his range. Good accuracy from that range. 2nd and 8 now. Griff wants more. Coming up on 2 minutes. They were asleep for much of this fourth quarter, but now, here they are. Ganaway trying to get to the edge. And he is run down just short of the 20-yard line by Chris Gardner.
Well, if you're TCU, you start wondering about the clock and using your own timeouts. Save some time for yourself.
Exactly.
To get the ball back. You got a 3rd and 4 here. Maybe you start burning timeouts and don't let Baylor just milk the clock here.
Set something up for themselves and not give you an opportunity.
I know. I think I would have called a timeout by now.
Both teams have 2 left. 3rd and 4. Ganaway not going to come close. So it'll make for a 4th down as Tank Carter, the All-American linebacker, was able to get to Ganaway. And now the pressure will be on as Aaron Jones timeout is called by TCU.
That'll leave them with 1. So they will have, if this field goal is made, TCU will have 1 timeout in just over a minute.
By the way, Aaron Jones last year, 4 different times in the season, he hit a field goal on the last play going into the half. Heck of a way to open up the Friday night primetime schedule, Rob. We told you we got an upgraded schedule this year. We got the Rose Bowl chance to open things up.
Big 12, Pac-12 showing up. And bigger games in Texas. You got one tomorrow over in Dallas.
Longhorns are looking to have a turnaround. But right now, Baylor is looking to take the lead. 37-yard field goal attempt from Aaron Jones. And he nails it. 50-48. Baylor finds themselves late and tacks on 3 to retake the lead.
Well, he kicked that hard and strong. That would have been good from 47. And that is your 8th lead change of the game. And you still have 1:04 to go and 1 timeout for Casey Paul Hall.
Jones is just a sophomore kicker, but he has been clutch. Made 19 field goals as a freshman. Look at Art Piles. He didn't even flinch watching that kick.
Well, he knows.
Kyle Patterson says, all right, we got ourselves 64 seconds.
And don't forget about special teams play. The kick coverage on both sides has been less than stellar tonight.
No, atrocious. Return men have been finding themselves with plenty of green space.
If Greg McCoy gets another one, he could break one loose. He's done it a couple of times tonight, had a 73-yarder.
By the way, for TCU, their place kicker Ross Evans has a career long of 50 yards.
And the problem here, Tess, is that you don't want to just squib it and try and kick it away because you might give them good field position at around the 40 or so.
Exactly.
So you want to kick it deep, but you don't want to kick it with a low trajectory so that he's got a good chance of returning it.
Remember, number 7, McCoy for TCU, a record-setting night on kick returns, 225 kickoff return yards. And he's going to get a chance here. McCoy looking for room. He doesn't have any. Best special teams play on kick coverage we've seen tonight, and it comes from Clay Fuller, who is such an interesting story. Recently, a minor league baseball player who was hitting home runs in his last at-bat for the Angels and now a 24-year-old walk-on for Baylor.
Yeah. And the key was that kick was high, stayed in the air a long time.
So now a lot to accomplish for Casey Paul Hall and the Frogs. Complete out of the backfield is Matthew Tucker. They are out of the hole in one play, all the way out to the 44.
30-yard pickup. They picked on the former quarterback, Trahan, not accustomed to playing the ball in the air. They got him isolated with Tucker, and Tucker came up with it.
Clock stopped at 52 seconds. They only rushed 3 against Paul Hall. And he gets it to Boyce, who steps out after a minimal gain. Remember, the line to make for field goal range for Ross Evans is the 33. If they can get the ball inside that 33, he's fine.
That is about the edge of where they need to be.
Exactly.
They would prefer to be inside that 30 and have it be somewhere around a 40, 41-yard kick. And he's missed a couple from 41 already tonight.
From 41. He's made from even longer from 44. But his career long is 50. Paul Hall now. And the knee was down on Cam White, the freshman from DeSoto High here in Texas. So they'll make for a 3rd down and 3. Clock is under a half a minute. Paul Hall gets rid of it quick. 1st down, and it is Cam White, and he's down to the 40-yard line.
They have a timeout. They want to spike the ball. You got to stop the clock. Clock will go once the ball is marked.
And they do just that. The clock actually went down to 18 seconds.
Yeah. Well, you're at the 40-yard line. That is way too far. That's a 57-yarder from there. You got 18 seconds and 1 timeout. You have time with that timeout. You can take a shot over the middle and try and pick up 15 yards, 20 yards, and make it more realistic for your kicker.
By the way, looking up at those flags, the wind is going right to left. He has the wind at his back. 18 seconds, yardage needed from Paul Hall and the Frogs offense.
They'll have holes in the secondary.
Look at the time he has. Almost intercepted. Ahmad Dixon made a move on that ball and almost sealed the game.
Well, they're taking away the deep throw. They're underneath areas, holes open, but Paul Hall, remember, is trying to throw with cramps in his legs, and he just couldn't get enough on that football.
12 seconds remain. Baylor trying to hold on for a signature upset win against the defending Rose Bowl champs.
They need about 10 yards to have a realistic shot.
Paul Hall has his options downfield. It is intercepted. Intercepted. Mike Hicks falls to the ground, and Baylor is going to have one of their biggest wins in years. Griffin III takes a knee. As you can see, tension running high as they are storming the field. The first big one of college football 2011. Those are the freshmen here in those gold jerseys. What a way to start their college years.
Mike Hicks came up with a big pick. It was the first time tonight that Casey Paul Hall took a gamble. He threw the ball into coverage where there really wasn't anything open, and Hicks came up with a big, big pick.
So many streaks snapped tonight. The nation's best regular season winning streak comes to an end. The nation's longest road winning streak comes to an end. TCU, after going unbeaten a year ago and capturing the Rose Bowl, they drop a thriller here at Baylor.
The 107th meeting between these two teams, probably the best.
And by the way, 107th meeting, the series is now 50, 50, and 7. Let's go back and look at the play that finished things off.
Well,
TCU was on the move.
Yep. Watch the coverage. Look at the 3 green jerseys that he's throwing into. He doesn't have a guy there. He's trying to make something happen. It was the first time all night that he did that. They were in a desperate situation. They needed at least another 10 yards to have a shot at a field goal, and he took that chance, and with those cramping legs, he just didn't control the ball as he would have liked.
You know, Ron, after an offseason of NCAA investigations, of scandals and suspensions and the vitriol, isn't it nice to just have football back?
As bad as the game off the field has been, the game on the field has never been better. Not just tonight, but in general, what we've seen the last couple of years on the field, what we've seen tonight, and what we'll probably see tomorrow in Dallas and in Atlanta. The game on the field is fantastic.
A sea of green and gold here in Waco, Texas, on a special night for Robert Griffin III, the sensational quarterback, perhaps the best athlete in all of college football, who tore up this TCU defense only to see Casey Paul and the Frogs come all the way back after they trailed 47-23. And then the re-rally by Baylor, capped with Aaron Jones' 37-yard field goal and 1 moment of defense by Mike Hicks. Tomorrow morning, the guys on game day are going to show you some of the celebration from the Baylor locker room. Chris Lee, Kirk, Desmond, David and Aaron live from Cowboy Stadium. And then a couple of big ones tomorrow night. Great way to get the weekend started, wasn't it? Our final score, number 14, takes it on the chin. Baylor wins it 50-48. Coming up next is Sports Center on an ESPN2 USA Soccer. For Rod Gilmore, Samantha Steele, and our entire crew, I'm Joe Tessitore. Have yourself a great night and make it include Sports Center right now.